But again, it's something that we rarely see here. Normally, people generally stick to the, the tried and trusted serious shenanigans, and it looks like that is where we will be starting. Mausoleum will be our first match. We're going to have Raziel on the left-hand side of your screen as Twinter. Lottie will be on the right-hand side of your screen, coming in with Mechanica, and it has been a long time since I have seen a Mechanica player being brought to the table in the EU ARMS scene. So, off we go then. So, Blorb gonna live up to their name. Raziel is coming in with double Blorbs for our wonderful tried and trusted Twintel. Meanwhile, Lottie is going in for double Kablammer and is unfortunately going to get caught with the bouncy nature of the grab. These are two very different arms, it must be said. Both are pretty much on that heavyweight category. The Kablammer, it does that little recoil knockback before it comes down with the big old explosion. But again, as long as it hits Blob, they are absolutely going to go down. Meanwhile, the Blob has the bouncy nature of it, which also means the grabs are bouncy as well. So the trajectory of them can be a little bit hit or miss as Lottie goes in for the rush. Got the initial hit, but is not going to get anything else. And the explosion is just flat out going to cancel Raziel's rush attempt. And they are not making any kind of headway against this this wonderful mechanic at the moment, who is unfortunately going to get grabbed and sent to the other side of the arena. But so far the Kablammers are just negating the Blobs from getting anywhere else. Unfortunately, they are still causing themselves a little bit of self-destruct damage, as the hammer isn't getting as much distance away from them as they'd probably like to. Rush is set and ready to go for Lottie, but again, not going to get anything with that. Blorb at the very least didn't get the grab to punish, but now gets the grab on the second time of asking. 15 seconds left on the clock. Lottie is in critical, and Raziel is going to score the grab to get themselves on the scoreboard, and a point is on the card. So, they are off to a fine start, and a good showing so far from both sides, as Lottie again gets another quick little knockdown onto Raziel, who immediately comes in with the rush, and unfortunately, actually does get it. Missed the initial punch, but the follow-up punch managed to find its connection, on a lot of damage going through on Lottie, who again tries to come in with the rush, but again, no prevail for that one. The Kablammer just not finding its mark on that time of asking. I think that's 2 in a row that Lottie has just not been able to connect with that. More of the slime screen, if you will. Again, just painted onto Lottie's vision, so it makes it just a little bit harder to figure out what Raziel's next tactic is going to be. Trying to keep this health deficit somewhat level. Remember, Mechanica is a heavyweight character, so basically means they can phase through quite a lot of the attacks the Blob was going for. Rush comes out again. Raziel has another response for it, just shields through it, so chip damage and nothing more than that. Goes for the rush. Tries to sandwich Lottie in, but unfortunately misses on both sides, and the Kablammer is going to get the punish as well. 40 seconds left to go. Both still very much on even territory in terms of health. Again, the Kablammer with the AoE explosion just about clipping Raziel, and again another little bit of clip damage. The grabs are they're always so fun to watch. Just watch them just bounce around and not get any, just not unfortunately find the mark on Mechanica, who has the health lead at this time of asking. 15 seconds on the clock. Blob on the cusp of critical, both with rush ready to go though. And Raziel knows if they can land a grab or a rush, they can still yet take this away, and that rush is going to connect. That's the last thing Lottie needed. The dying seconds is going to see that point snatched away from them, and it is going to be Raziel, the player with the experience in this Challenge Cup, who will take the lead by 1.20. So, very good start right there for both sides of the party. Lottie will be a little bit upset that point got away from them in the end, because again, both times they were able to sort of like get that health lead starting to go against Raziel, and both times Raziel managed to get a really good combination, that flurry towards the end, to take that point away, especially in that second point where again they knew they were the ones who had to go in to try and seal that up without having to force a match free. A grab or a rush, anything of those magnitudes would have definitely took it away from Lottie. That's exactly what happened. Went for the grab, went for the, tried to go in for a quick little commit to try and punish the grab attempt, but unfortunately the rush immediately pinged, and no explosion was going to stop Lottie that time round. So, 1 point to nil. Remember, in the early goings, it is a best of 3 set. And we are going to go straight back to Mausoleum. And again, Raziel, all Blorbs, nothing else. And Lolly is, I think, going to stick with the double Kablammer. So they're both sticking with double arm combinations. And obviously, Twintail does have that Actress Aura as well to slow things down and give themselves a little bit of a chance to figure out what they want their next move to do, if they can do anything about it. And that was not 1, not 2, but at least 3 or 4 self-destructs in a row there for Lolly. And that's the risky run, running double Kablammer. They'll be able to stop the Blorbs, yes, but if they're too close to you, you are slowly going to get chipped away by your own arms. So you have to be so careful and so precise when you throw those out. Raziel putting in so much pressure with the Blorbs at the moment. Again, just clipped away from that grab attempt. So Lodi knows exactly what to be looking out for at this stage. But again, another charged up Blorb does come through. And the rush, again, not going to find its mark. At least manages to find the last hit to yoink Raziel's rushes as well. So neither player really getting any purchase with that whatsoever. But crucially, again, it's Lodi who has the health lead. And they've had it for 2 points in a row, but haven't been able to convert it into that winning point that they've been looking for. Blorbs finally being choked on down, and Lodi is not giving Raziel a chance to get these things bouncing into an awkward position. So far, it is all Lodi, but again, that slime screen starting to slow them down. A grab is going to bounce on through. 15 seconds left. We've seen this happen before. Another grab is going to come through, and this time it's against Raziel. With 10 seconds to go, they're going to have to really be brave if they want to try and go for another self-destruct forced out. That is going to be a grab, but it will not be enough. And Lodi finally, after all of that pressure, finally gets that point. And here we go once again, and the slime screen again onto the screen. Just going to rob Lodi of some vision temporarily. The rush is going to come out, but no purchase with that. Just a little tag of 5 damage, and that is pretty much that. Lodi now goes in with the rush and finally scores it. 360. It is not going to give Raziel the time all day to get any kind of breather in this matchup. Lodi is on fire now at this stage. Jetpack and hammers alike. Blorbs are going to cause a little bit of self-destruct, but again, that AoE damage is still knocking Raziel through a loop. Bo again with the rush set and ready to go, and a grab is just about going to be denied there. It was looking very close, but Blorb again just consistently being peppered down by these hammers, and again another explosion is going to deny them the rush. That is going to be a KO. Both of these players winning 2-0 back to back. And it also means the first matchup of the day is going to match 3. A very good opening battle on our stream today. We always like to see the matchups go the distance. We don't often see round 1 matches go the distance on stream. Normally it's a 2-0, so it's nice to see that it can go either way. And well, if it keeps up like this, we might be in for a very interesting tournament of that. There will be no doubt. Looks like both of our combatants are ready to go, and once again we're going straight back to Mausoleum. 3 matches in a row on our spooky spherical playground. Let us see how this ends up playing out between these two. Are we going to stick with this double Blorb versus double Kablammer? Well, we are going to find out as Twintail and... I almost said Malieve because I'm just so used to seeing Mechanica when Malieve is playing, but obviously this is good old EU stuff, and it looks like we have dropped the meme shenanigans. We are back to serious business and the megawatt, and it's a shame we didn't get any of the actual stages that weren't serious as well, but you know, you can't have it. You can't have them all. You can't have them all. So Raziel with the megawatt and the roaster Lordy coming in with that Kablammer still, but now doubling it on up with the nade, so it gives them that little extra punching power, and already hard at work trying to keep Raziel as quickly down as possible. Again, just beating out that Megawatt. It is one of the slower arms in the game, but again, it can pretty much just breeze on through anything. The Kablammer is there to at least stop it somewhat. So really, it's a case of just trying to manually guide that nade around. The rush is going to come out, but again, the Kablammer just round the outside is going to deny Raziel that rush. The rush that is going to at least hit does a lot of damage, but again, this combination from Lordy. We might be seeing a bit of an upset in the early goings in terms of the Challenge Cup. Remember that Lordy, I do believe this might be the first time entering the Cup on this kind of scale, so we're going to see how this continues to play out, as Raziel is very much on the back foot here at the moment. Was able to get that first point with the double blows, but so far since then, Lordy has just been bringing this back bit by bit by bit. And the pressure from the double explosive arms is really doing wonders for them, but finally gonna get shut down by the Hydra, which Raziel is choosing to bring in alongside that rush. It's a double toasty arm setup, and I thought Lordy had that rush, but the nade just poking just a bit too far to the right hand side of Raziel. It means no connection on that rush, but having said that though, these 1-2 chains from Lordy, well, it makes you wonder if the rush even was even really necessary at all. Again, the Kablammer just breezes on through, and Raziel is having massive difficulties here. Finally does get the grab through to slow Lordy down, puts them on the cusp of critical. Raziel again can't afford to take too many pokes, just about gets the shield up, tried to go in for the quick little punish as well, but does get chopped down a little bit towards the end. 30 seconds left to go. Rush will again not land for Lordy. They needed that to land, and the Roaster got a connection in as well, which means Blor just needs one more hit, and Raziel can yoink this away, and does so again. The second I uttered the word there could be an upset, Raziel says no, 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 not right now, thank you very much. And the best part about this for Raziel means they give themselves the rush advantage. They do get clipped by the nade at this stage again, but it crucially just slides on into the right hand side, gets the grab, and the trampoline is out. So that platform is gone, done and dusted. So now who will this favor here? Mechanica obviously can just continue to wander around, get that change and keep it built up, but the pressure breaks the arm on the left hand side, gave themselves a free poke. But again, that rush is going to shut them down for the time being. 315 damage. Lordy knows they have to try and close the gap here a little bit. That Hydra is starting to run through them a little bit too consistently. And the Roaster again, it is unguided, but the damage it does is awesome. And that is going to be 255 damage. Lordy at least gets something with that rush, so it keeps themselves very much alive in this. But again, the Hydra's going to run clean through them. And obviously the heavyweight character, regardless of whether or not you're heavyweight or not, if it's a fiery arm and it hits you, you're immediately going down. Grab from Raziel. It looks like the experience is going to win out in the end. 30 seconds left on the clock, and that is rush, that is KO, and that is game. There will be no upset in round one. Raziel takes out Lordy by 2 points to 1. Very entertaining match from start to finish there. And I've just pressed the wrong button there. There we go. That's more like it. Great matchup from start to finish. A 2-1 affair. It means Lordy is going to drop down into the underground bracket immediately, whereas Raziel will move on forward and they will take on reigning champion Riffa. Very nice start to this competition for both players. Lordy will be a little disappointed, I would feel like, because again, they had so many matches where they had that lead and it looked like they were going to take it, but that first match, that first point crucially going against them in the end. Managed to bring it back for match 2, but match 3 was just a little bit too much. Raziel finally got that confidence, that wonderful consistency back with their usual combination, and manages to find a way through. So, with that being said, we are almost done with round 1. We have found out Aloya took out Daza by 2 points to 0. Okrim took out Pento by 2 points to 0. Grimwood took out Keisha by 2 points to 0, and the same for Shetty over Yoshi Bowser. So pretty much business as usual. All of the higher seeds beating their lower seed counterparts. We are just waiting on results for Yam versus Dr. Crits. That matchup is still happening. So currently we have in round 2, we have reigning champion River will go up against Blob Forever, who is Raziel. Lawyer will take on the winner of Yam versus Crits. Replicant will take on Okrim, and Grimwood will take on Shetty. There we go. So yeah, again, we are... Yeah, do apologize about this. I am currently getting... our wonderful tournament organizers are currently organizing or arranging a new way of keeping up to date with the brackets on our wonderful little overlays. Unfortunately, some slight issues in the early stages, but we'll fix that in the grand scheme of things. But this is just basically a quick little behind the scenes look as how it will play out going forward. So hopefully we'll have an active bracket for you all to keep an eye on if you are following along. If you aren't having a separate browser up for the actual challenge, then remember explanation bracket in the chat if you would like to see what is currently going on over there. So we are still waiting to hear on who the winner between Yam and Crits is going to be. But first and foremost, it is going to be Grimwood versus Shetty, who will be coming up next on stream. We know full well what these two players are capable of. These are top seeds for reasons. They are incredibly consistent players. Grimwood having won this competition 7 times beforehand. Shetty has won it twice. Obviously the most recent victor between these two is Grimwood. They are consistently in that top three area. We know Shetty definitely has the capabilities to do so, but they have not been involved in the podium position since the 47th entry. So that was 22 cups ago. So we'll see if that consistent nature of Grimwood is going to prevail over Shetty, or if Shetty can bring that experience back, rewind the clock a little bit, and maybe cause a little bit of an upset of their own in the grand scheme of things, as we wait for both of these two players to start readying themselves up. Whilst they do so, I do want to give a quick lovely mention to those of you who are currently chilling in the chat. Obviously, I won't call out lurkers, but I will call out people who have indeed been chit-chatting so far. So, Saliku, thank you very much for joining us in. Riffa, Alistair, good to see you both. Marsols, Raziel, obviously being in the chat between their matches, which is always nice to see. Yoshi in there as well, so too is Replicant. Yeah, it is a shame about Ghost not being able to join in. But again, there are plenty more competitions still to come up, so it's always a chance to see what they're all doing. Mimo, it's always nice to have you on hand as well. I hope you are taking good care of yourselves. And Grimwood obviously in there as well. Alice's movement is so good with mech. I know, right? It's always good to see a mechanic and main make their names known in these kind of scenarios. And like I said, it's been a while since we've had a mechanic and main in the EU scene. So, very nice to see more of them coming on up through the ranks as we get ourselves set and ready to go for round 2 of our Challenge Cup today. Grimwood on the left-hand side of your screen coming in as Min Min, Shetty on the right as a Ribbon Girl. It is double chiller for Grimwood. Meanwhile for Shetty, it's the Roaster and the Birchuk. So 3 instances of ice with 1 fiery unguided glove of the Roaster, and it's going to be Grimwood who starts the better of the two with that chill into a grab combination. As Shetty immediately starts to close in that distance. They want to be trying up close and personal with Grimwood. Keep that Dragonarm from charging it up, but again, that grab is going to immediately give Grimwood the chance to get that perma-charge up. As you can see, it looks a lot bigger, a little bit more intimidating to go up against. This is why Shetty wants to be able to find a way through at all costs. But again, Grimwood is just incredibly consistent, able to just play this as patiently as ever, just actually beating Ribbon Girl at their own game. Again, another wolfly little dance. Which way are we going? Which way am I going to go? Am I going to punch you? Am I going to grab you? What are you going to do about it? Pinned against the wall down in the hot pocket area. The answer is nothing. And Shetty says, well, screw this. We're going double fiery shenanigans. It is going to be the hottest of slaps. That are going to be a curved arm tool to try and get around these cold boxing gloves that Grimwood has at their disposal. Dragonarm again up on the left hand side, but drops straight into the path of that there Roaster. And immediately disarms Grimwood from that Perma-Dragon Arm. But again, trying to find that space to go for it. Actually goes for the rush. Gonna get 270 damage and immediately bulk that arm up on the left-hand side. Shetty now goes for one of their own, but unfortunately doesn't get anything. Just chip damage and nothing more than that. Immediately tries to get into that high mobility territory that Ribbon Girl likes to possess, but so far Shetty not having as much of a response as they would like to. That little bit of consistent accuracy that they're looking for. Finally finds it in midair with the Roaster, and the hot slap now begins to try and pin Min Min in there, but again, all it takes is one little grab like that, and Grimwood straight away back towards that central area, not worried about being in that hot pocket. Goes for the rush, actually catches Shetty with the left arm just as they were going down. Could not get out of range in time, and that puts them on the cusp of critical. The hot slap at least robs Grimwood of that Dragon Arm. Another successful chain into that hot slap, and that is going to be rushed as well. And just like that, Shetty turns this matchup on its head. And so we begin again, and Grimwood goes, okay, alright, we know full well what Ribbon Girl can do at this stage. Tribolt is going to be the answer now, and that goes on the Dragon Arm as well. So you see Shetty immediately up close and personal. Grimwood trying to make sure they do not get that arm up. Those free bolts are hard enough to avoid, as it is for a mobile character like Ribbon Girl, without them being given the perma buffed up charge as well. But Shetty is playing this beautifully now, pinning Grimwood into the corner. Both going for rush, but it's going to be Shetty who gets the better of that. Is that a KO? Not quite. One more hit is all Shetty is looking for, but the grab from Grimwood, and this is generally where Grimwood can be at their scariest, when Shetty knows all they need is one more hit. But Grimwood has came back time and time again from these kind of scenarios. Again, as the hot slaps just begin to whiz their way around, they're just basically looking for an opportunity like that. And Shetty is gonna get the grab that they were looking for. And how about that? It is going to be Shetty who takes the first point in this set, 1-0. Goodness me, intense from start to finish between these two. And also we have an update. Our round 1 matches are done and dusted. We do have an upset, and quite the monumental upset, it must be said. Dr. Crits, our 12th seed, has yoinked Yam out of winner's bracket. So Yam drops into underground bracket in round 1, a 2-1 set. It did go to distance, so Crits will take on a lawyer. That is a very spicy round 2 match, because wow, those stakes are high up there now. Meanwhile, back to the action here. Grimwood gonna switch from Min to Max Brass, which we have seen them rule with time and time again. Shetty again back to Ribbon Girl. It is Shakram and the Hydra, but again that hot slap and roaster. And Shetty knows this is not quite the different game, but also they know they have to play this very aggressively, knowing full well that as long as they can get these arms charged up and to hit, Grimwood will immediately lose all of that bulk up. And bearing in mind Brass is such a big hitbox in and of itself, but again that Hydra can just still run through you and wreck your day. So both trading in with their fiery gloves, but crucially it's going to be Grimwood who has to go into the emergency bulk up state. And Shetty goes for the rush, misses it. Grimwood gets a rush of their own, yoinks Shetty down into critical as well, and suddenly it's Grimwood's favor, and the Hydra is going to deny Shetty anything of that. Shetty just railed in so much damage onto Grimwood, but the second Grimwood went into critical condition, the tide didn't just turn, it just completely flooded over Shetty. And that is 2 Hydra pokes in a row that Grimwood has managed to get away with here. And for Shetty, getting these pokes in every now and then is great and all, but they've got to be charged up. They have got to be able to rob Grimwood of their abilities, and that big time grab is not going to help them in the slightest. Switching out to the Butcher, but being pinned into the corner, and just like that, juggled on up, 270 damage. It just keeps adding on up. Got the grab initially, but the Shakram stuns them out of it, and Shetty is probably not going to get anything else from this matchup here. It looks like it's going to be Grimwood tying the set by 1 point apiece. But Shetty is not going to go down quietly. Finally, the Hydra pokes on through with the wake-up jump from Grimwood. And just like that, it's all square. And, well, again, for the second time in a row, I was thinking maybe we might see a slight upset. Maybe we'd see Shetty knock out one of the big names in this competition down into underground bracket pretty early. But no, Max Brass is going to be too much for them to comprehend, and Grimwood ties this setup 1 apiece. Knowing full well that the winner of this matchup will take on either Replicant or Arkrim in the winners semi-finals, they want that top 3 spot. They want a chance to be going for winners final. And what better way to do it than by knocking out a monumental player right here and now. Grimwood knows that they've been here plenty of times beforehand. And as long as they can keep Shetty's Ribbon Gold grounded, they know they'll be absolutely comfortable. But for Shetty, they know they've got to play this aggressively, but they've also got to be very careful. Grimwood is catching up to them just a little bit too quickly for their own liking as we head into Temple Grounds for a very important, very crucial match 3 in this best of 3. It is going to be Shetty who takes the first bit of damage and finally gets themselves caught up with the hot slap. Pressure on the right hand side of the arm for Grimwood, but crucially manages to fight away around it. The Shakram and Hydra combination is just doing exactly what Grimwood needs it to be doing. Grounding down Shetty, giving them a lot more stuff to have to dodge around. But again, still dropping that shield at the worst possible moment. Not 1, but 2. 2 hits from the roaster, back to back, all charged up. and ready to go. Grimwood finally finds a way through with the Shotgun as well. Both relatively even here, but Shetty knows full well they've got to have a big lead. The closer they get Grimwood to critical, knowing full well that Brass will hit even harder the second they drop into that red orb territory. And that is going to be, I thought that was going to be a quick little stun into the rush, but Grimwood just did not quite get there in time. And Shetty is at least going to block that out and pins Grimwood in there. Big time rush, 365 damage. Shetty not quite in critical, Grimwood into critical, but we know where that leads us to. Brass in that critical state gets clipped by the roaster, but it's not charged, so they won't go down. That's more like it. Grimwood on one poke away from going down, but they've got to be so careful. The grab is going to connect. The grab connects, and just like that, Shetty is going to come back on that one and puts themselves on set point, and Grimwood's got to be so careful here. Chakram and Nade is going to be the call. They're going to drop the Hydra and immediately fall in foul to a grab from Shetty, who immediately senses a chance to really go in for the kill here. No Hydra means that they have no worries for the rest of their days, but they've still got to keep this pressure intact. Rush will come in. Grimwood will get the shield up, chip damage, and nothing more than that. They now have Rush ready to go, and unfortunately Shetty was already in the air, could not double jump out of that, and is going to get pecked on down by another set of Rush. But thankfully the hot slap and roaster combination comes through again to chip away more damage. Another direct roaster hit. It gives Shetty a massive health advantage, and the grab as well. Grimwood is very nearly out of this contest, and this would be a pretty decent shock here if Shetty can do it, having not been anywhere near the top 3 for ages. And Grimwood is gonna drop into underground from round 2 in a 2-1 set. Shetty is absolutely back, and they want another top 3 position. They're through to win a semi-final. What a set we have here for you today. The person who hasn't been in top 3 for 22 cups has a very good chance to be able to book their ticket into it, but they've now got to take on the number 2 seed of Replicant in the next semi-final, who is able to take out Okrim by 2-0. Another 2-0 victory on the upper side of things for round 2 in the form of Riffa taking out Raziel. We are just waiting on Aloria and Dr. Crits to finish up their matches, and we will have winners semi-final all set and ready to go. So well, how quickly things can change. Like I said, we had the top 4 seeds make it on through. Those top 4 seeds were Riffa, naturally, because they're the reigning champion. Replicant, naturally, because they were the runner-ups in the last competition. But Grimwood is always pretty much there, in or about that top 3 situation. And for them to be knocked out, I mean, yes, Shetty is still seeded 6. You know, they have won this competition twice beforehand. But again, they haven't been in the top 3 for such a long time. It's still a little bit of a shock in and of itself. And obviously, all bets are very much off. And again, we don't know how that match in round 2 is going to go at this stage either, with Aloy versus Dr. Crits, who Dr. Crits haven't just beaten the number 5 seed of Yam, who again has been incredibly consistent as of late, and Aloy is consistently tapping at that door of a grand final finish, because you know full well they want that. But again, it's going to have to be a very interesting matchup against Crits for that one to go for. Alright, so whilst we await for round 2 to finish on up, we are going to have ourselves a quick little break. When we come back, we will start with winners semi-finals. Riffa will take on the winner of Aloria Crits, where Replicant will take on Shetty in the other semi-final. Do not go away, my friend. And we are going to be back here at EU Arms Challenge Cup number 69. Do not make your nice jokes in the chat. I am watching you. I am watching you all. Your girl TK Layla coming to you live once again for the next installment of this competition. We are set, primed, and ready to go for semi-final number 1. And it is going to be Shetty going up against Replicant. So as we get these two titans primed and ready to go, we know full well what each are capable of. Replicant looking to go into that top 3. Once again, naturally, we know that they did come second place last time out, falling to River in the grand finals after all was said and done. Meanwhile, for Shetty, they are looking to book their ticket into top 3 for the first time in 22 cups. A long time coming, but they again, well, I mean, I said they've got it all to do. They were able to take out Grimwood. Now they have to take out Replicant. These are still best of 3 matches. Do you remember that? It should be a lot of fun. On top of which, we do have some updates for you in the bracket, explanation bracket, if you aren't following along already. Yam has taken out Daza by 2 points to 0 in Underground round 1, and Yoshi took out Keisha by 2 points to 0. So Keisha and Daza are both unfortunately out of the competition at this stage. And Underground round 2 is almost going to be set and ready to go with Grimwood against Lori, Occam versus Yam, and Raziel versus Yoshi. Penzo will take on the loser of Aloya and Dr. Crit, which is currently still happening. I've pressed the wrong button once again. That's more like it. Replicant on the left-hand side of your screen. Lola Pop coming in with the Hydra and the Burchuk. Shetty coming in with Burchuk of their own and a Roaster. So both are going on in. Both are going on in with a fire and ice combination. The Hydra are those vertical bolts. We saw Ribbon Gold struggle with them in the previous set, but was able to best Grimwood a little bit more comfortably once those Hydras were popped away. And Shetty is going to finally find themselves a grab on our inflatable clown. They can waddle around with that shield deployed, which is always nice. And not something really a trait that many other characters in this game have. And again, that Hydra again just poking around on through, really keeping that that space that Ribbon Girl does like to jump around in as little as possible. And Shetty just staying grounded for the time being. Pillars are going to be dropped on both sides. There's the ones behind Replicant so far. Burchuk does get the freeze, and unfortunately it is going to be chip damage and nothing more as Replicant goes in for theirs, but also again chip damage. Nothing more than that, just a slight little tag for 15 towards the end, and does catch the Hydra on the wake up as well. Another Hydra call, and Shetty is being drowned out of here by these Hydra bolts. Very much they had a problem with this with Grimwood in the previous set, and Replicant pretty much showing why they work against a character like Ribbon Girl. Shetty down into critical already, not really able to chain up as much as they'd like to. 15 seconds left on the clock. Arm weak on the left hand side, but Replicant has such a health lead that with 10 seconds left on the clock, it really doesn't matter at this stage. There's not really anything that Shetty could do at this stage, and I think both participants very much know that the KO is going to come on out. And it is going to be Replicant looking to be in that top 3 once again. Who is going to get that initial point, but can they take the lead in the set? We will soon see as they launch in with another Burchuk and the Hydra as well. Just as Shetty thought they had the chance to move, the Hydra was charged up and primed. And unfortunately, Ribbon Girl is not going to avoid that anytime soon. Chopped into the corner once again. And another Burchuk hit for Replicant, and make that 2 in a row. And a long range grab to boot. And Replicant is just swimming in confidence at the moment. A Hydra pick as well. They're looking for a perfect. They may get a perfect. It is a perfect for Replicant. First one on the stream today. That is how you go straight into a set and don't look back. Replicant 1, Shetty 0. Goodness gracious me. One more needs to be said. The first match was a little bit tentative on each side, but Replicant was just able to chain away. That second one was unfortunate to say the least. Shetty could do nothing. It was just Burchuck after Burchuck after Burchuck. The grabs were coming in as well. They just could not get going at all. And we are going to go straight back to Temple Grounds, and we're going to see if there's going to be a fighter switch up. We do know that Shetty is very good at both Ribbon Girl and Twintail, although we haven't seen their Twintail in quite a while. It is going to be the Twintail who is indeed going to come up, and obviously Replica not going to really switch from Lollipop. Why in the world would they after a performance like that? You see that Chakram and Tribalt, those could come in handy, but it's going to be the Roaster to go up alongside that Chakram for the first part of our second matchup between these two. Nade and Burchuck once again for Replicant coming on in. I say once again, actually, it was the Hydra, now it's the Nade with that Burchuck. And so far, Shetty definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable here. Replicant had Ribbon Girl completely wide down. Twintail, a very different fighter, definitely more grounded than Ribbon Girl, and obviously with that Actress Aura as well, should give them that little bit of time to micromanage and strategize from where they want to go from that point of the fight. And you can see them trying to slow that down every now and then, keeping Replicant on their toes. Does take a nade hit, but thankfully it's not charged, so it won't worry them too much. It's going to be Shetty with the rush charged up and ready to go early on. Replicant now has theirs as well. None of the pillars have really gone down at this stage, which, if a rush does come out, you will likely see Lola just immediately double on back, and unfortunately they're not going to get a chance to do that at all. Rush will go through 355, and well, Shetty overcommitted there, went for the double. Actually didn't get sent reeling there with that finishing poke from Replicant, so Shetty does maintain health lead for the time being. 20 seconds left on the clock. We have seen Replicant turn this kind of stuff around before. It's still very much doable. And again, Shetty knows full well a stun into a grab combination will definitely make it that little bit more comfortable for them now. Nade is going to get denied by the Chakram and the Roaster combined. Another free Roaster hit pretty much puts Replicant on the wonderful Magic Pixel. Nothing that they could do from there, and a much more comfortable showing there for Shetty. The fluidity between these two, able to dance around like it was nothing. It is always just a marvel to watch two of the best go at it like this. And as we go into our second point in the second match, both with rush set and ready to go, and it's Replicant who springs into life first, 260 damage, and again an immediate follow-up of 120. Again, that combination of the nade and the Burchuck hitting and the nade exploding in Shetty's face. Comes back with a rush of their own, 325, finishes with the Roaster, gives them that little bit of extra poke. And unfortunately, again, falling foul to another Burchuck hit, has to shield on through the rest of Replicant's onslaught, who did not want to go for a grab at that time. They felt like they knew Shetty would probably have a read for that. Again, a lot of punches just going up against the shield, but both of them trading themselves out, and a Chakram into a grab combination for Shetty. Puts Replicant on the cusp of critical. Rep does have rush ready to go. Shetty not quite. So if Shetty can weather this storm and maybe get themselves into position for a rush of their own, they could still yet do this. But again, both on similar healths now. Replicant knowing full well they can get a KO here. But Shetty now with rush. And just like that. Oh wait, didn't get the KO. What? Replicant somehow didn't get the KO. They now do so, but that was such a weird moment for the rush. I thought for sure that would have been a KO as Shetty dropped the shield at the worst possible time. It wasn't enough for a KO. Somehow, some way, Replicant lost some damage in there. It didn't matter in the end. They managed to get the follow-up poke and get the point anyway. But that was bizarre to say the least. And as we go into point number 3, Shetty knows full well they have to win this, and it's just going to hit the shield, chip damage, and nothing more than that. And Replicant gets a free poke with the nade as well. Shetty did so well at the opening part of this second matchup, but it's Replicant who has taken complete control once again. They have the health lead, they have the rush advantage on top of all of that. Shetty just not find the marks they'd like to. They do get the Chakram hit, but unfortunately they'd already committed with the other Roaster. Not only did the Roaster miss, it did not come back in time to get the grab. They at least manages to get around the entirety of the rush. Could not get the punish on two different pokes there. And despite the Actrosaurus slowing down the grab, Shetty did not have the time enough to be able to react to it. And with that, Shetty does at least catch Replicant off guard, 215 damage. It brings that health deficit back a little bit. They can't quite pin Replicant into the corner, who switches the scenario around. 30 seconds on the clock, gets the Chakram hit, gets the grab, puts Replicant back underneath Shetty's health, and they know full well they've got to keep this lead for 20 more seconds. The Bird Chuck managed to land. I thought Shetty had the shield up, but it landed anyway. Replicant now dipping into critical condition. 10 seconds on the clock. Replicant may still yet get a rush and does so. In fact, I think they take the health lead with that as well. So Shetty knows full well that this is pretty much done and dusted. It's not gonna be a 2-1 set. Instead, it's going to be a Replicant 2-0. I was sure a couple moments there I thought Shetty had taken that, but the game says no, and Replicant is going to make sure there will be no further upsets at this stage. Replicant wins by 2-0 and is in the top 3. They are making sure they keep this string of theirs, a very nice looking streak going at the moment for them, and that is going to be another top 3 finish. They finished 2nd place last time out, so this is the way to start it. But can they go one step further? That will be the question. They have made it into winners final. The top 3 is guaranteed, but who will face them there? Will it be Riffa or will it be Aloria? The reigning champion Riffa going up against Aloria, who has yet to hit that grand final in the Challenge Cup. And in order to do it today, they're going to have to take out Le Champion, the 21-time winner and reigning champ. And it's going to be a hard one to do, but, well, we'll see how much Aloy has been able to improve in the past 2 weeks as we prepare ourselves for our 2nd semi-final. So a spicy matchup of that, there is no doubt, coming on up. Number 2 seed Replicant, runner-up from last time out, is in winners final. Top 3 guaranteed for them. Will it be the top 2 seeds once again making it to the winners final? We're pretty much used to Riffa being in the top 3 via this route because, you know, seeing Riffa in the underground bracket just doesn't really happen anymore. It hasn't happened for a long time now, so we'll see how this one ends up playing out. But Aloy, like I said, has it all to prove, has managed to come 3rd twice in their Challenge Cup career. Obviously, the most recent of those was the previous Cup, where they finally managed to get there after such a long time away. But they're wanted, they are craving that grand final placement. They've got a ways to go to be able to get there, so we'll have to see where this goes between these two. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks. So what has Aloy learnt, or is the champion just too much for anyone in their current state? We are going to find out. Riff on the left hand side of your screen as Missango. Aloy on the right hand side of your screen as Aloy. Powerballer and a Kablama for Aloy. Always good to see that. And the Powerballer being on that Dragon Arm as well. Meanwhile, Riffa coming in with that Chiller and the Phoenix stuff that we generally see Riffa bring on out with Missango, and the red mask immediately up gives them that little extra bang for their punches, as you would pretty much used to expect from this. Again, another grab with that chain, getting the chill onto Aloy, getting the grab as well. Aloy couldn't respond to it, gets caught with the chill again, and Riffa already in complete control, gets clipped a little bit by the Kablama, on the right hand side, but again, nothing that will phase Riffa in the slightest. Already punching Aloy down, breaks the arm as well, and this is just, goodness me, this is just unbelievable showing from Riffa. Does finally get caught by the power baller, but again, look at the damage already done in the early stages. Aloy knows full well they've got to do everything here. Rush is going to come out, nothing is going to get caught by that as Riffa just casually slides around it with ease. And as the shield comes out once more, the power baller will do nothing to stand in Riffa's way. Who's going to take another victory and start as they mean to go on. They're going to switch out to the Biffler of all things now. Give themselves a little bit of extra verticality to their punches. Going to keep the Phoenix on just because. Does get clipped by the Kablammet though. The lawyer knows full well as they just dance around the tubes. Does get clipped at the very least by the power baller, but the rush has to come out to make sure no additional damage comes through there. So a lawyer sensing an opportunity, but now Riffa with the blue mask as well, gonna speed that character up just that little bit more. Caught by the power baller. So the mask is going to get disarmed, and Riffa suddenly realizing that power baller is a little bit more intimidating than they probably expected. Hammer is going to rinse off down that shield. And again, Aloy spots an opportunity, hits 225 with the rush, and this is how you start the punch back. Can Aloy do anything though? That Phoenix is just incredibly devastating for Riffa. Another couple swings in, and just like that, Aloy right back on that back foot, using the DNA tubes of the lab to give themselves that little extra protection, and Riffa not hitting the hits that they would normally expect to do so at this stage. Having that totem up on hand as well. The blue totems are just rinsing around at the moment, but Riffa not choosing to wear any of them as another successful hit from Aloy comes out. Aloy has health lead here as we go underneath 30 seconds to go. Both with rush to go, but Riffa crucially with the yellow mask on means that if they both do go in for the rush exchange, Riffa will always win it. And that's what Aloy has to be so careful of. 12 seconds left to go. Aloy literally parking the burst in front of the tube. Gets the paralyzed, but unfortunately couldn't punish with it. Gets grabbed by Riffa. I don't know if Riffa will be able to do anything with that. They can't. And Aloy is going to take a point here. One apiece between these two. And well, if you want to find a way of being able to take Riffa out, this is the way to do it. Riffa started off so dominantly in that first point, but Aloy, with a very cagey affair in that second point, managed to bring it on back, realized they had the health lead, played the tubes to their advantage, and Riffa could do nothing about it, and had to settle for second best that time around. They will not want to concede the actual first set point here as long as they live. And that's why you've seen that Biffler drop back in towards that Chiller, which was a devastating combination in the first point. Aloy doing incredibly well to dodge as much of it as possible. But again, the Phoenix is still managing to fly on through, and the Chiller is just getting that poke immediately consistent. And that is a rush, and that surely will be not quite KO. But again, Riffa in complete control, much like how they were in the first point. Aloy can't do anything. Oh, can't get the grab either. And the Phoenix comes flying around. That is a perfect. And the reigning champion. The second one arm didn't work for them. They go back to their tried and trusted. And the second they give Aloy that little bit of hope, there is nothing else that can take that from them now. 1-0 is the score for Le Champion as they go in to matchup number 2. And it's going to be Buster Beach that we will be heading on to for our next confrontation. Aloy managing to learn a fair bit, able to use the stage and their arms to their advantage, especially in that second point, being able to turn the tide. The Biffler very much did not work for Riffa at all. Went back to that Chiller, and just like that, Aloy was not able to get anything else in there. So, Riffa switching on up their arms as well, going to bring in the Coolerang and the Cracker, and immediately scores onto Aloy, and doesn't even get them a chance to get that arm up. The Cracker came in and immediately got a wake-up grab as well. And Aloy knows full well, and again, you just see that heelish devil from Riffa. Like the second they get a knockdown, it's just that little quick little shimmy, just to say, I know exactly what you're thinking, I know exactly what you're capable of, I am not going to give you the chance to even get anything into this. And already Aloy on the cusp of critical. Riffa is looking for back-to-back perfects here. And that's gonna be it. That's gonna be an... God damn it. Well, we go into the next matchup, and thankfully there will not be 3 perfects in a row for Riffa, as finally they get picked on down by Aloy, who comes in with the rush, forces Riffa into the hot pocket, and immediately walls them there, gives themselves as much of an advantage as possible, almost getting to Riffa to halfway health, who tries to go in for that grab, trying to bait out that kind of punish from Riffa, but so far, that Ram is doing wonders for Aloy, who's really turned the tide here. Suddenly, Riffa cannot get going in the slightest. And despite getting that perfect in the first point in such a manner that they did, Aloy knows full well a couple more hits could yet still yoink another point away from Riffa. Thankfully, though, it's not, well, I say thankfully, unfortunately, it's not quite happening for them at the moment. Riffa finally gets some sense of control. Getting that red mask in, getting that confidence down, and look at how much damage has already gone back the way to Aloy. Yellow mask up, knowing full well the rush is probably coming. Another Watt hit just stops Aloy, and again just poking with the cracker from range, not allowing Min Min to even get any kind of semblance into this. Goes for the rush, but it's not going to matter because Riffa has the rush, and they know that full well. Arm weak on the right hand side, and Riffa knows full well they just need to hit one more poke for anything here. 10 seconds left on the clock. The Watt is not going to hit, but they have the health lead. They know Aloy has to come to them. That's exactly what they're going to do. The totem blocks one hit, and again, straight through with the other. It's a 2-0 for Riffa, and I don't think anybody is surprised to hear that. Riffa back in to win his final, back into top 3 yet again. Aloy doing everything they can, but unfortunately, this is the reigning champ we're talking about. When does Riffa ever lose? So, with that, it's another top 3 appearance for Riffa. It's another top 3 appearance for Replicant. The 2 individuals who were in the grand finals last time out will be doing battle once again. Here in Winners Final, it will be Riffa going up against Replicant. Our first best of 5 set of the day. And we are getting straight into the thick of things whilst we are waiting for these 2 individuals to sort out their stages. Just a quick little information update from the underground bracket. Grimwood has taken out Lordy by 2 points to 0, so unfortunately we do not get to see what Lordy has on offer. Unfortunately, falling in the early stages, not quite able. Unfortunately, that's sometimes the break of it. If a higher seed gets upset, it's going to be a very tough run for everybody in that underground bracket. Yam taking out Ocarina by 2 points to 0. Penzo takes out Crits by 2 points to 0. And Raziel takes out Yoshi by 2 points to 0 into underground round 3. Grimwood has taken out Yam by 2 points to 0, and Penzo and Raziel are currently fighting for that next position. In the meantime, we are back. Winners Final is the category, and it is going to be Riffa on the left-hand side of your screen as Ninjara, going up against Replicant, once again coming in with the Lollipop, Triblast, and Ice Dragon versus Popper and the Parabola, respectively. Again, with those explosions, and again, another decent grab attempt from Riffa, but again, we're so used to that combination of the bolts and the dragon just walling Replicant out, not giving them a chance to even utilize that springy nature of theirs, and massive time damage with that 320 sends Replicant to the other side of the stage, and already with such a massive health lead, and obviously Ninjara with that ability to be able to just teleport, especially if they have that shield up. Nothing that Replicant can really do about it. They can try and preempt it as best they can, But Riffa again just using every other item available to them. The pillars in the stages gives them that little extra shield. Arm weak on the left hand side for Replicant. Does manage to find a way through with the popper. The windy variation of that cracker is just as quick, but then just juggles your opponent into the air. But again, chained out by that Ice Dragon, at least able to cancel the build-up of that this time round. And unfortunately, Replicant having to shield on through both of those rushes. Not really finding their mark, but crucially, it keeps Riffa in the lead with 20 seconds left on the clock. And I think Replicant, very much knowing that they are pretty much out of time, they just cannot find a way through this ninja shield goodness into critical. They go 5 seconds on the clock. Replicant knowing full well they can get another couple taps in, but they will not be able to take the point away. Riffa already comfortably in charge. So, point number 2 up for both of these combatants. Chiller and Powerball are still going to come up for Replicant. They know full well how to make it work, but unfortunately that grab again from Riffa. The consistency that this man has when it comes to the competitive scene. The Triblast and Ice Dragon, people who are up against it so many times, but they still cannot find a way to get on through that combination. And again, the Triblast just catches Replicant off guard. And again, going for the rush, not able to get any purchase of it. Riffa just continues to move around. Arm weak on the right-hand side again for Replicant. With Riffa having a rush that is very dangerous to boot. Because even if Replicant got the shield up, it would have still been enough pressure to go on through. And that, never mind, is going to be massive amounts of damage. 390 against Replicant. And Riffa with a massive health lead does get caught with the freeze. But again, it wears off just in time. Riffa gets the ninja ability back and immediately punishes Replicant on the get-go. 35 seconds left to go. Replicant into critical, manages to get another tag in on Riffa, but they've got to find a way to keep these chains consistent. Goes for the rush, but Riffa not only too far away, but also avoids it anyway. Another poke with the Tri-Bolt. And again, getting caught with the grab, so Replicant very much still not out of this yet, but we've seen Riffa land all of their rushes so far. Not this time round though, but with 10 seconds left to go, their health lead again is too much for Replicant, who's going to get caught with the freeze. The Tri-Blast will hit, and that will be that. Riffa starts with the first point lead. Well, what else needs to be said here about the state of play between these two? We saw Replicant was not able to best Riffa last time out. And Riffa pretty much continuing as they mean to go on. They want those records. They want to continue being the top player in the European scene. And this is the way to do it. By showing up time and time and time again, continuing to come in with the tried and trusted, and no one really has an answer for them at the moment. Even every single time they think they found a way to do it, Riffa just continues to update the game. Triblast Ice Dragon coming in for match number 2, nothing changing for Riffa. Meanwhile, Replicant coming in with the Lockjaw alongside that Tri-Bolt, so very much a different strategy for Replicant. Again, that Lockjaw so unique, being able to bring out that Fireball and then follow on up with the rest of the punch. Got a little bit of damage onto Riffa in the early stages, but can they continue that going forward? As again, the bolts find their way through. This time it's Replicant who takes the damage on Riffa's side of the field. Bow can do a lot of damage, especially in its rush territory between that dragon and the Lockjaw. It's just going to be down to if Replicant can find a way through. They haven't really been able to be as consistent as they'd like to with their rushes so far. And again, that arm weak on the right-hand side. And Riffa again just continues to coast clean around them. Punishes with a poke. Arm weak on the right-hand side. And that will surely be a break. And that is going to be damage coming up. But somehow Replicant, despite getting the arm break, managed to double on back and still get a shield up despite all of that. They've took a lot of damage in the process, yes, but crucially stayed on their feet. Still gives them a chance, but again knocked back at the tail end of that. Tried to go for the jump, but caught in midair and immediately hit the deck. Look at the health lead that Riffa has already. and this just seems like only a matter of time before River picks up yet another point. And River once again continues as they mean to go on, maybe getting the arm weak on the right hand side for them all, but at the same time just immediately dashes through Replicant's punish attempt, 330 damage with the rush, and again catches Lola on the bounce, not giving them a chance to even utilize their abilities to their potential. Replicant already down to the halfway mark. They're trying to keep this gap as closed in as possible against River, forcing them into the corner, but again River does not mind it. Does not mind being on the back foot because they just continue to find a way through Replicant. The Tri-Blast explodes right behind them, and that will be a grab for the KO, and that is a 2-0 lead in this set to River. A change of pace it is then between these two, as Replicant has to stare down the barrel of a reverse sweep if they wish to take this fight to River. So far, it is just sheer dominance from River. Like, that first matchup can sometimes be a bit cagey, but River is just on an absolute tear at the moment. They want the clean 3-0. They want the shutout. They want another entry into the grand final for their resume. And again, picking Replicant out the sky, not giving them a chance to do anything about that. As the popper comes out for Replicant, trying to speed down Ninja, but so far, again, nothing is working for them. The bolts can at least, well, anything can punch through it as long as it connects. So Replicant has to hope that they can catch River on the off guard. But again, River is just so quick. Every single time Replicant goes up for a jump, River's already got the bolts out, and the dragon is not too far behind it as well. Just baiting them out, guiding them into a position where River knows they can get a free hit for them. And that already puts Replicant on the cusp of critical. River finally being popped in towards that hot pocket, but again, the arm weak on the left hand side. That pressure is just unrelenting from River, who again gets another 1-2 chain, dips Replicant into critical. They may even try to just hold off on their rush at this point because they are just getting hits for free with these bolts. Replicant trying to play aggressive, but there's too much pressure on those arms, and River finally gets caught by Replicant's rush, pinned into the corner on the cusp of critical themselves. Replicant senses an opportunity to finally yoink a point back away from them. Arm weak on the left hand side. Again, the pressure continues to fly on in. Both on similar health. River goes, you know what, screw it, we are rushing now. And that is going to be set point for River. What else is there to say at this stage? River knowing full well one more victory will give them that grand final slot. And Replicant knowing they have it all to do, bringing in the roaster alongside that birch truck, again able to find its mark for the time being. But River incredibly quick, incredibly strategic, able to find a way through when all else seems lost. River again just biding their time. Another successful hit with the Ice Dragon, trying to force Replicant to stay in that state, hoping they would drop the shield. They didn't. Pinned into the corner. So 2 rushes in a row for Replicant. They have managed to find the connection with and gives them the health lead. But again, still being worked on by that Ice Dragon, grabbed in towards the other pocket area. Caught by the blast. Juggle as well, just because River can. And that is already pretty much done and dusted. The explosion from the Tri-Blast means it's a 3-0 set. And for the 37th time, River is in Grand Finals in the Challenge Cup. Well, show of hands, who saw that coming? Riffa just does not want to give this up anytime soon. Every single time you think there might be a way, Riffa just continues to raise the difficulty that little bit more, and nothing Replicant can do seems to matter to Riffa in the slightest. It's just consistent pressure from them, and it does mean that the top three sits as follows. Riffa guaranteed to finish no lower than second. Replicant guaranteed to finish no lower than third. But who will be the actual third player to join them in this top three set? Well, Penzo and Raziel are currently doing battle. We are a long way back in the underground bracket here. Normally we would be up by now, but just as soon as I say that though, we do indeed have our answer. Raziel has taken out Penzo by 2 points to 0. So coming up next, Underground Round 4 is coming on up. To determine who will be in the top 4 for this competition, Shetty versus Raziel. The winner of this matchup will take on Grimwood, and the winner of that match will take on Replicant, and then the winner of that match will take on Riff. You generally know how this is going to play out. If you aren't already following already, Explanation Bracket will bring you that challenge link, which you can hop on over and keep a very close eye on. And we will join in with our recently updated lobby. So Shetty versus Raziel, both looking for their own little slices of history. Shetty hasn't been in the top 3 for 22 cups. Raziel hasn't been there for 11. Yeah, they've had the most recent top 3 appearance between these two players, which again tells you everything really. So we will see what these two are able to bring to the table. Again, Raziel with that recency, consistency, whereas Shetty again hasn't really lost that. I mean, we've seen that they haven't lost it in the slightest. Do remember that they did take out Grimwood by 2 points to 1 earlier. Grimwood is waiting for them in the underground semi-final, so honestly, it's a very spicy matchup that we are about to see here, because if Shetty wins, it's a rematch against an opponent they've already beaten today. If it's Raziel who wins, then that changes everything and then some, because suddenly, who would have really expected that going in to this stream? Certainly not me. In either case, this is going to be an interesting way to end these next few sets, knowing full well the winner of this takes on Grimwood, and then the winner of that takes on Replicant and makes it into top 3. Stakes are pretty much really high right now. I mean, yes, right now we see numbers 1, 2, and 3 occupying those 3 slots at the moment. So Grimwood naturally will want to make sure that they are in the top 3. But for Shetty and for Raziel, a chance to get back there when they don't normally make it that far. For Raziel, it would only be the second time. For Shetty, it would be the first time since it would be the first time in 22 events. Like for both of these players, the stakes are high right here. So we'll see. We will see how this plays out. Both, I believe, are ready. Oh, no, wait, no, soon enough I said that. One just needed to quickly take a quick BRB, which is absolutely fine. Their stage bans are currently going through as it stands. But yeah, you look at the stats, and like I said, you know, that stat for Riffa is still bizarre, it must be said. Like, seriously. Riffa has 21 wins and 15 second places. They are currently on a 3-event win streak. They have made it to the grand final for the 37th time. Now, bearing in mind, this is the 69th Cup. You want to do the math. 37 plus 37. That is 74. So, yeah, you get the general idea. More than half of these tournaments, Riffa has been in the grand finals. That is unprecedented. And again, you look at the stats from those competing today. Grimwood has won 7. Replicant has won 3. Shetty has won 2. All of those wins combined don't even come close to the 21 wins that Riffa has. What more needs to be said? That is currently the state of this scene at the moment. It's not just a Riffa revolution, it's a Riffa wins situation. Like, it's a... This is how it is. So let us see. A twin-tailed ditto between Shetty and Raziel. It'll be Raziel on the left-hand side of your screen. It will be Shetty on the right-hand side of your screen. What will they be coming up with here? Both rocking a roaster, both rocking a curved arm. So, even Stevens, as far as this is concerned, is going to be Raziel's twin tail with the roaster and the boomerang on the left-hand side of your screen. Shetty with the twin tail on the right, the roaster, and the chakram. And it's going to be Shetty who gets picked out of the sky first by Raziel. And again, the actress aura dance is the stuff of legends. And it's going to be Shetty put under pressure in the early goings. Arm broken on the right hand side, and Raziel quick as ever to try and get the punish out of that. They didn't get the rush that they would have liked to, but at least they managed to break the arm. And now it's Raziel who goes down. Shetty just could not get around the pillar to deploy rush. Otherwise, you get the feeling that would have been a lot of damage coming up against Raziel right there as they hide behind the next pillar of Temple Grounds. Remember, we are back to best of 3, so every single one of these matchups are very crucial. Shetty again, on weak on the left hand side and peppered down by the roaster. And it's Raziel who is significantly more comfortable here as twin tail in this matchup. Rush comes out for Shetty, but Raziel not only gets the shield up, but backs it all the way on up. Gives them the space to breathe. 20 seconds on the clock, a massive health lead. And Shetty, knowing full well a rush will likely end this, and it does indeed do so. It doesn't get the KO, but the damage to do in the space of 10 seconds is just not going to happen for Shetty. And Raziel is going to start with a very impressive showing against Shetty. Going to take the initiative in this first matchup. So, will Raziel be able to keep this consistency up, I wonder? Boomerang and the roaster versus roaster and the chakram. Neither player wanting to switch from their respective areas as the actress aura dance begins once more. And it's going to be Shetty who gets the chakram into the grab combination. Immediately tries to roll on in with that full-on aggressive commitment. Again, the arm weak on the left-hand side. We've seen Raziel break that arm already before. Rush comes up, but again, Raziel gets the initial shield and then just backs up the rest of the way. That is an arm break. That is a free punish for you, Jim. And that is going to be a rush straight onto Shetty. Yoinks them back down, but didn't get as much as they would probably like to there. And Shetty starts to turn this back into their thing. But again, that arm weak on the left-hand side. Raziel is consistently tagging that. But finally, that 1-2 combo does manage to take Shetty back down, pins him into the corner. Both just straight in blows now into the corner. Neither can find a way through with all of these gloves and the accuracy to boot. And it's going to be Shetty who gets completely uno'd into that corner, reversed around, both with Rush available and ready to go. And it was Raziel who got the better purchase between the two in the previous exchange here. But it's Shetty who finally catches the rush this time round. Nothing Raziel could do. 20 seconds left on the clock. Slows down the ram. Juggle in time. No, it's not! That surely would have been the lead if they'd hit it. They at least managed to find another tag with the boomerang. But they have the health deficit. They need to find a way through. Grab is not going to connect. Shetty knows full well they can take their sweet time with this. Nothing that they can do. They will take that point. One apiece. Oh, honestly thought that might have been surely the winning exchange, but unfortunately could not get the tag with the juggle. And so Shetty at least brings it back down to a sense of normality. So, both very much near their final rush deployment. Both not switching out. Oh no, wait, we do have a switch of weapons. Raziel coming out with the Hydra. Switching out that roaster for the Hydra, going for that additional verticality, but is going to get caught by the Chakram. And Shetty significantly more comfortable with this combination now. Knowing full well they're not having to outbox a fellow roaster, just keeping that Hydra. Unfortunately, whiffing with the grab, got the stun, but somehow the grab just slipped to Raziel's side, and nothing that they could do about that. It's Raziel who is at half health. It is Shetty who is comfortably in the lead. Gets another solid roaster hit. And just like that, Blob knows full well this is a mountain to climb here against such an experienced veteran in the form of Shetty. Rush will hit. Rush will KO. And Shetty takes the first point. A great little exhibition between these two, both going in with Twin Tail, both going in with a roaster and curved arm. That last matchup, Raziel choosing to switch from the roaster to the Hydra, switching for that additional verticality, but just not working out for them in that moment. Shetty realized that they did not have to outbox a roaster anymore. Suddenly, that confidence just went straight up. And Shetty did not look back in the slightest. We are staying at Temple Grounds between these two. Knowing full well that Shetty has a chance to book their ticket into top 4 and maybe fight their way into a podium position. Like I said, they both know the stakes are high at this stage. And will continue with our Twin Tail Ditto. Raziel crucially going back to what worked, the boomerang and the roaster combination. Shetty immediately wailing off on that pillar, getting that broken down, getting as little as possible to protect themselves around it. And already starting off with a decent exchange, both tagging with their curved arm. As you can see, just waltzing around there and then using the roaster to just go in to try and get that break on the pillar and maybe catch their opponent by surprise. Getting the Chakram stun, but could not get the punish again with that pillar still in the way. Raziel with a lot of series of punches actually has their rush charged up a little bit sooner than Shetty, but again caught by the stun, can't do anything, and then the roaster on the back foot as well. And it's Shetty who baited Raziel out, and that shield was not even close to being deployed. And Shetty, just like that, has the confidence. Another double stalemate with the roaster immediately following up from Shetty, who puts themselves on set point. And Raziel choosing to just ditch the curved arms completely. Double roaster, so unguided goodness for Raziel's veins. Stuck into the corner, but at least is going to outbox Shetty this time around. 320 with the rush. Gives them a health lead, but they know full well that Shetty has the capabilities, has the potential to bring this back. Another charged up roaster hit. Immediately tags Shetty straight back down. Can't quite get the grab that they were looking for. And again, unfortunately, the roasters just whizzing past Shetty on both sides. And that is the risk you run by running the roaster and the nades. They are unguided arms, unlike everything else in this game. So it's all manual aiming. Arm weak on the left hand side, which is why you see Blob having to keep on moving. And they did so. No damage taken, no arms breaking. And that is going to be another rush confirmed onto Shetty, who place themselves on the cusp of critical Blob with the health lead. But we've seen Shetty pull this back, much like how a lot of high seeds generally do. But Raziel knows their chance for a podium is on the line. And is going to find a way through. The double roaster pick has worked out for them. And we go into another final point between these two. It's still set point for Shetty, but crucially, the chance to take this the distance for Raziel is on the cards. They are the first to have the rush as well. Shetty won't be too far behind, but unfortunately was already committed to that punch. 300 damage. And it's gonna immediately send them straight back down. And it gives Raziel the very crucial early lead. As now it's up to Shetty to figure out when is gonna be best to fling on in with this rush. They know full well Raziel is charging up so incredibly quickly. They've got to find a way of slowing Raziel down and finding a way through. It's not going to happen on this occasion. They do at least break it with the rush. 70 damage goes on through. And unfortunately again, fully committed onto Raziel. Caught again with that rush. And Raziel suddenly has so much more confidence. They had a chance for the grab as well, but again couldn't hit it. And they both just keep punching right on through these. Finally, Shetty finds a way through and gets a grab, and just like that, their health lead is back in Shetty's favor. Another punch into a grab combination. Shetty playing incredibly aggressively right now. They don't want this set to go any longer than it currently is. Critical conditions on both sides of the field. They're both within a chance of going down. The rush comes out from Raziel again. They keep charging it up so quickly. And well, that's one apiece. Wow. What else needs to be said here? Just when you think you know exactly how a set is going to be playing out, it changes. It completely turns around on its head. I don't think I've ever seen a twin-tail charge-up rush that quickly. Raziel was just flinging out punch after punch after punch. And goodness me, that was everything you wanted and then some. Shetty looked like they had the ability to close that set out. Especially towards the end. They definitely finished the stronger of the two. But just that rush again just caught them completely by surprise. And for the third time in a row, we're going back to Temple Grounds. Both continue to remain with Twintail. Both remaining with their arms of choice. The Boomerang and the Roaster versus the Roaster and the Chakram. So away we go once again. Knowing full well the winner of this will take on Grimwood in Underground semi-final. Shetty, knowing full well they are able to take out Grimwood, wants to be able to get up there, knowing full well a podium place is on the horizon. Raziel looking for a chance at an upset or two. It would be quite the story of that, there would be no doubt. And it's going to be Raziel again with the rush already up and ready to go. And again catches Shetty out. 235. That's Shetty already halfway down on their bar. And it's Raziel starting the more confident of the two. Again, the punches are just going to wall off on the pillar for the time being. Pillar finally broken on down. As the two begin their usual actress order dance. Shetty at least manages to get the read on the grab. But again, look at Raziel. They're already halfway up on their rush charge. Shetty has not deployed theirs yet in the slightest, knowing full well that they want to be that little bit more methodical, that little bit more strategic with it. Whereas Raziel generally flings it out when they sense an opportunity to do so. But again, the stun into the grab combination. Shetty holding on to it to see if they can get that rush in towards a KO state. But with 20 seconds left to go, it's going to be incredibly close between these two. It's going to be Raziel who takes the blow towards the end, and it's Shetty who decides, you know what, screw it, we're going in with the rush. Critical condition for Raziel. I don't think there's any coming back from that one for 3 seconds to go. Shetty gets on up. The grab is not going to connect, and Shetty once again puts themselves on set point. Crucially, Raziel starts with the rush advantage. It'll just be the case of when they deploy, and the answer is not, well, not just yet. The nade explosion tags them into a grab combination, and another one going down onto Shetty as well. And just like that, Shetty is in a dangerous spot, but it's not going to be a rush connection this time round for Raziel, as Shetty is going to at least get the shield up chip damage and nothing more than that. The nade finally finds a way on through, and Shetty drops underneath the halfway mark. Raziel might be up against the corner, but you really wouldn't know it because they are finding the marks more often than not. Shetty finally manages to find a way to bring them down that little bit more, and they do have rush, a stun into another quick little 1-2 combination. But again, it's only so much damage. Shetty knows full well they've got a lot of health to yet wince down here, knowing full well Raziel does have a rush of their own to counter them, and counter them they will. Shetty into critical, 315 damage. One more hit is all they need, and Raziel takes it to the distance again. The upset or the experience, recency or veteran status, which one is going to book their ticket into Underground semi-final? This is going to be crucial here. The explosion cannot be taken advantage of this time round for Raziel, as again Shetty just walls on out and is not taking no for an answer this time round. Finally, Raziel gets pinned straight against the wall, and already half damage done and dusted. Shetty is starting to get brought back in though, 150 damage just like that. And Shetty knows they have to be so incredibly careful. The roaster and nade combination is a combo that they don't often go up against. Rush comes out, chip damage and nothing more. The arms were both weak. Overcommitted again though, Shetty. That seems to be the mistake they often make. They feel like they can get the chance to maybe take some damage, but they keep falling foul, and Raziel is going to send Shetty into critical condition. Arm weak on the right hand side, but a 1-2 hit. Shetty is one hit away from going down. The Actressor gives them a little bit of a buffer. Both are very, very close. This couldn't be any closer. The nade is not going to hit this time round. Shetty is looking for one hit from anything. The Shackle can't curve round, but the punch is going to go through, and Shetty is out. Raziel wins an amazing twin tail match, 2 points to 1, and has knocked the 2-time winner out of this competition. They are into top 4. They're into Underground semi-final. What a match! straight up a match worthy of any grand final. The fact that this happened in the underground round 4 is just, it be like that. It be like that. But it does mean Raziel is through to the underground semi-final, where they will now take on the number 3 seed, Grimwood. Oh my gosh. Wow. Holy wow. I think everybody needs a slight breather after that. Like, what else do you say? What else can you say about that matchup? Shetty is a 2-time winner of the Challenge Cup. Raziel has only made it into top 3 once. That was 11 cups ago. And they came 3rd in the midst of all of that. To take an experienced player like Shetty to the distance, in a twin-tail ditto at that. Goodness me. That is what you like to see. Those are the kind of matches you love to see. The back and forth, the nail biting, the stressful finishes, the literal 1 HP gaps that can sometimes determine if a match ends or if we're doing another point. You just never know with those kind of matches. You never know what to expect. And now we find ourselves here, at the point of no return. Raziel has a chance to make a little bit of history and book their ticket onto a podium position for only the 2nd time in their Challenge Cup career. Grimwood, who is a 7-time winner, is not in the mood to let that happen. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Raziel on the left-hand side of your screen. Hydra and Roaster. Grimwood on the right-hand side of your screen. Coming in with the coil with what is essentially triple nades. And already Raziel is feeling the pressure of an overabundance of monumental explosive capability. Knowing full well they've got the Hydra to at least try and ground them back down, but knowing full well that it is going to take some real consistent accuracy to be able to find a way through as Grimwood begins their usual ascent into the heavens and not coming back down for anything if they can. Again, the pressure from all of these nades. The second coil charges up an arm. It randomizes because it's 2 nades. It's essentially always going to be triple nades and 160 damage straight onto Raziel. Like I said, Grimwood not in the mood to be playing around. They are going in full on serious. They are not giving Raziel a chance to breathe. The rush will at least come out and chip Grimwood down, actually on the cusp of critical. But Grimwood again with this wall of explosions. They know only one of the gloves needs a hit. And there is the hit that gives Grimwood what they need. But having said that, a lot of damage from Raziel that they were taking throughout all of that. So Grimwood's got to be a little bit careful here. They will not want Raziel to be gaining too much steam ahead of those kind of exchanges. Double roaster now going to be for Raziel coming on in. They're dropping the Hydra completely. But again, knowing full well that all of these arms are unguided, all of the damage is going to be big. 315 on that rush gives Grimwood a brilliant start already. And the nades just wall Twintel against them, not giving them a chance to really get any kind of proper purchase. Again, the rush comes out. This time around against Grimwood, 280. Keeps them at relatively same health. Again, it must be said, Raziel is at least managed to meet Grimwood in terms of the damage output. And in fact, every single time there, 2 times in a row, they got the wake-up punch when they needed it to most. And again, Grimwood having to really try and slow this down because they're going to get caught by the grab. And Raziel rapidly learning exactly what is happening here. One apiece between these two. And Grimwood has to drop one of the gloves for a curved arm. And unfortunately, Raziel fully extended. Didn't get knocked down with the finishing touch though. So a lot of finishing touch is not happening in this tournament today, which is quite a surprise to see. And the rush is going to come out. But again, the jetpack of Coil just drifts away from Twintel. No rush damage whatsoever. But Grimwood again still being peppered by this double glove onslaught from Raziel. But again, that curved arm is starting to really bring in that focus. And again, manages to find a way through. 260 damage sends Raziel into critical condition. It slows the arms down, but not enough to be able to avoid the damage. At least gets another quick little poke with the roaster. But crucially, it is Grimwood who has the massive health lead. Immediately gets themselves all of the range in the world. The chakram curves around. And that will be Grimwood's point in the end. 1-0 in this set. As I said right at the top of the set, Grimwood is not in the mood to be conceding any additional points at this stage. They want to be able to go on through. They want to make sure that the top 3 seeds are in the top 3 places, that no further upsets will be happening. Raziel really bringing in some amazing moments. They're able to basically not only match the tempo that Grimwood was flinging on out with the coil, but also being able to yoink a point away from them in the midst of it all. So it was only when that chakram came out that Grimwood was able to finally keep things under control. And we're going to see a complete arm switch up. That Tri-Blast and the Toaster there on hand now as well. So the unguided arms are gone for Grimwood. We're going to go straight into the bolts. But again, immediately caught out, because guess who also is in with an arm switch as well? It's Raziel, who's going to come in with double big old gloves on them. There's no elements associated with them. It's just big damage. That is what they're going for. And so far, they are working quite a treat here at the moment. Again, caught a couple of times as well. But again, Grimwood couldn't quite get the punish with the rush. They do at least break the shield. But despite getting that stun, they did not get the full purchase off that rush. It was just chip damage and nothing more than that. And now it's Raziel's turn, who goes in with the rush, 235 damage. And just like that, Raziel, again, keeping up with Grimwood's tempo. And despite Grimwood, again, nailing in some of these 1-2 shots, especially with that chakram, Raziel's consistency, that onslaught of the gloves, is again going to wrestle a point away from them, and Grimwood realizes this is going to be a boxing match. So, triple toaster for Grimwood. Meanwhile, one of those big old gloves is going to get switched for the roaster, and it's going to be Raziel, who thought they had the initiative, but again, can't get anything more with that. Almost falling into Grimwood's trap, but just about getting away with that. Some slight shimmies with the shield. Make sure the shield doesn't break, and crucially, it's just chip damage. How Raziel got away with that, I'll have no idea. But again, that arm still weak on the right-hand side. Grimwood just flinging in so many toasts. finally finds a way through, finally gets the knockdown. And again, both of these combatants with rush set and ready to go. And Grimwood knows full well in a straight up boxing match, they are going to be the better of the two. And that is going to be 260 damage. And that is the consistency and confidence that you generally see from Grimwood. And already pokes Raziel into critical condition in a straight up boxing match. It's very hard to beat Coil. And right now, Grimwood is showing exactly why that is. It's going to get caught by a couple little hits here and there. But again, it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. And that is one apiece. Crucially, it is set point for Grimwood. And it's going to be a Hydra switch for Raziel. We saw them switch into a Hydra in their previous set against Shetty. That did not work out for them in the slightest. And so far, it's not working for them here. Another rush confirmed for Grimwood. And again, another toast straight to the face. And they have got it all to do in this situation. Because again, Grimwood is just literally spamming punches. Finally gets caught, 315 damage. But again, look at the damage already done. Just this absolute onslaught from Grimwood. It is just literally spamming the gloves left, right, and center. And Raziel can dodge them as much as they want, but they are finally finding a way through. But again, with every single punch that Grimwood makes, it's going to charge up that rush. It's going to be devastating. And one more hit will give Grimwood the set that they are looking for. There it is. That is the 2-0. There will be no more upsets. It is just going to be the top three in the top three standings. Grimwood wins by 2 points to 0. And so, it is business as usual. It is back to how things normally are at this stage of the competition. It is Grimwood versus Replicant. The top 3 seeds in the top 3 places. A great showing from everyone to get this far. The winner of this matchup will now take on reigning champion Riffa in the grand final. But you get the feeling, if you're Riffa, you're pretty much happy with whoever comes up at this point. I mean, I say that knowing full well that we actually had Grimwood go down into the underground bracket very early on. Like, they went down to Okrim by 2 points to 0. It's a shame that we didn't get Okrim, they went down against Shetty 2 points to 1. It's a shame we did not get that rematch. I would have loved to have seen how that one would have played out. But again, Raziel got the upset, and that's what matters most. So, Riffa made it through this far Riffa made it to grand finals by taking out Raziel, Aloria, and Replicant without dropping a single game. Grimwood had to make their way throughout all the way from underground round 2, whereas Replicant got all the way to here by beating Okrim, by beating Shetty, and then unfortunately dropping to Riffa in that winners final. So Replicant knows they've had a decent run so far, but Grimwood also knows they've had to play a good fair amount of matches to get all the way back up to this. So we will see. We will see how this plays out for both of our combatants. And it will be Mausoleum, where we will be heading off over to first. 7-time winner Grimwood versus 3-time winner Replicant. At stake, the chance to take on Riffa in the grand final. Grimwood on the left-hand side of your screen coming in as Coil, going up against Replicant in the form of Lola Pop. Chiller and Scully versus the Hydra and the Coolerang. Scully again, such a quick firing arm with that poison stack as well, and already getting caught in that Chiller as well. Straight into a grab from Grimwood, who is not wasting any time. They've already had to fight a lot of matches to get this far. They are in no hurry to slow this down anytime soon. They're immediately trying to find a way through our wonderfully clown inflatable shield. The Replicant actually again manages to meet them at their tempo, much like how Raziel did in the previous set. The Hydra and the Coolerang, definitely good arms to utilize against a character like Coil. And so far they're just going to bounce across the shields on both sides of the field and not do any further damage with that. And it's going to be Replicant who starts with the initiative. 335, make that 355 damage. Pops Grimwood on the cusp of that critical condition there. The Hydra almost running straight into that red zone as well. And Grimwood just about hanging in there, finally gets themselves the grab on the cards. They do have Rush set and ready to go and will utilize it. Immediately closes on the gap. 235, last touch is the Scully, which is why that poison stack again starts to tick away. Not able to keep it up though. But again, now both on very similar health here. Just under 20 seconds left on the clock. Replicant manages to get a poke, but Grimwood gets a grab. And that, I believe, is going to put them on very similar health here. But Coil gets another grab. That's the last thing Replicant needed. Two Scullys having to avoid that. And Replicant knows full well. Oh, they got the grab. They got the grab. I think that just about keeps on Grimwood's favor. It does. There is an actual bit of greed on that bar where there was none for Replicant. And Grimwood is able to hold on to that point. And as the Hydra and the Coolerang continues to stay for Replicant, Grimwood again with that Toaster and the Scully, but again caught out by the Rush exchange. 355 damage for Replicant. Immediately backs them down, but unfortunately again straight into a Toaster, straight into a wake-up grab as well. And again, Grimwood again not wasting any time, straight on the attack, keeps the gap as close as possible. Playing such an aggressive Coil. I mean, I don't think we're surprised to see that from Grimwood at this stage. And again, as the Hydra and the Coolerang swings around Grimwood just to be able to duck around underneath for the time being. 50 seconds still on the clock. Replicant just under halfway. Grimwood just over half. And so far, no real hit really coming in of notice. Replicant does at least get another tag, but it's crucially the rush from Grimwood coming out first. Chip damage. Nothing more than that, though. And Replicant knows full well a rush at this stage could definitely swing it in their favor. The grab does not come out, and Grimwood now suddenly finds themselves in the cusp of critical, and the rush will immediately sweep them into a KO. Oh, that's what you wanted to see from Replicant. And obviously we know full well that Grimwood will just immediately charge this straight back up. It's going to be triple Toaster for them, so they're going to drop out that utility. Replicant stays with the Hydra and the Coolerang, but again, it's just going to get continuously bombarded by these Toasters that Grimwood would like to fling out of them. Replicant does have the health lead for the time being. Immediately bounces and catches Grimwood on the back foot as well. No rush for Coil this time, as our wonderful clown friend is finally gonna find a way through to break the tempo of Grimwood. And again, that grab though quickly brings it straight back into Grimwood's favor, but it's gonna be Replicant who has the rush up and ready to go. Grimwood again though, as Coil immediately has that rush straight up charge. Both are gonna go for it, but Grimwood actually dropped the shield at the worst possible time. Juggled up into the air for 230 after all that, and the grab will KO. And that really came against the run of play there. I thought for sure Grimwood was just going to shield that and not do anything else, but they dropped the shield at the worst possible time. And Replicant is going to start with the first point. And do remember that this is a best of 5s, and we are going to have a quick little timeout here. As Grimwood is doing a controller change. If Lola bounces, it's a free rush, pretty much. Pretty much. So, Replicant 1, Grimwood 0 in the Underground final. Remember, it is best of 5s from here on out. So we will see what the response is going to be as we head on over to Buster Beach. So once Grimwood comes back into the lobby, we are just going to switch the player names around because obviously with Grimwood leaving the lobby, wait, do I have control over the... Yep, I have control over this. Yep, I have control over the entire lobby. Sweet, that's just what I wanted. So, Buster Beach is where we will be going on over to. It's been a while since I've done this. And here we go. So, Buster Beach is our next matchup. Again, both of our combatants sticking with their fighters so far. Lola versus Coil. We do see that dragon in the back pocket, but we haven't really seen Coil really properly utilize that at the moment. That is exactly what they're going to actually bring to the table, Dragon and the Toaster. So they're going to try and play this in a bit more of a ranged game here. And obviously, 2 Dragon lasers are definitely going to be a little bit more annoying to go through than 1, but they'll really want to be able to utilize the double Toasters a little bit more consistently as well, just to keep that wall out, just to keep Replicant from bouncing around all over the place. And as you can see, both getting the trade in the air. And again, the Hydra pops Coil straight out there as well. And again, Replicant is okay taking this at range. The Hydra and the cooldown kind of work a little bit better on that kind of range front. But I feel like they won't matter too much if they do decide to go a little bit aggressive, know full well that the Hydra can still cause Coil to have a fair bit of an annoyance. Again, another little knockdown. Grimwood with that rush set and ready to go. So too does Replicant. And there is going to be Grimwood going out first, but that is going to be chip damage and nothing more than that. But crucially, Replicant has a lot of health to chip away here, and I think they know full well that this might be a little bit too much for them. They're still going for this. Hydra still manages to find its mark, but again, the dragon lasers straight through that shoulder, and that is going to be that. Grimwood starting with the initiative this time around. Probably going to stick with the dragon and the toaster. Meanwhile, Roaster and the Coolerang for Replicant once again. Say once again, they have dropped the Hydra, so definitely realizing they have to go on that boxing initiative. Maybe try and play this a little bit more aggressively if they are to stop Grimwood from doing anything. Pins them into the hot pocket. Exactly where you want them to be, 360 damage, but again, on Wake Up, Grimwood gets that invisibility, slides on away out of there. And the arm weak on the left-hand side for Replicant, but crucially, they keep the health lead. Bounces round, couldn't get past the dragon. But again, finally finds a way to break on through, delivers a little bit more damage to Grimwood. They stay in the air as it's not a charged up hit, but crucially, they are still taking hits that they cannot afford to have add up on them, especially as we go into critical condition. Now, Grimwood may have Rush ready to go, but Replicant just needs a couple more pokes and they will absolutely take this away. They will not be in a hurry to use their rush at this stage on the basis of that they're only looking for a couple more hits. Grimwood has a long way to go if they want to bring this back into a winnable situation. Grab is going to get cancelled via the Coolerang, and Replicant knows full well they can allow this to time out. It is Grimwood who has to do all of the hard work here, and they're just not able to. And Grimwood knows full well there's no point using this rush right now if they can't land any hits in, and no hits have been landed for a good 30 seconds. Grimwood actually used the rush! I'm so confused. I I don't have any words for that. I genuinely do not know why Grimwood used Rush there. Either that was a missed button press or something else, but in either case, Replicant means that they start with not just Rush advantage, they landed it beautifully. Grimwood already on the cusp of critical, make that into critical, and I think they flat out thrown in the towel. I think that's a full-on give up. And that, my friends, is another... That's 4 perfects in this stream that we've seen today. Wow, that was... I have mixed feelings about how that set ended. And we're going straight back to Buster Beach. Grimwood not happy with how that matchup went in the slightest. Coil is gone. Here comes Kid Cobra. Some say he is hot, some say he is a snake, the others, but all we know is that he runs clapback and nothing more than that. Well, I say that knowing full well it's either clapback or Guardian, depending on who your name is. So, Grimwood on the right hand side of your screen, clapback, and Poppy immediately gets caught with the Coolerang, and that Coolerang is going to be a problem for that shield arm. But again, as long as they can try and get that out to repel it around, it'll only be repelling the Roaster, because the Coolerang will likely have less of a chance of actually running on into it. Again, already the arm weak on the right hand side for Grimwood. It's not going their way at the start here, and again Replicant just saw like inflates shield up, waddles in front of it and goes, what are you gonna do? The answer is, I'll finally get a grab through on you. Grimwood quickly slides all the way back to the corner, but again gonna get walled out once more, chilled and then roasted on through, and Replicant knows it's only a matter of time before they decide to pull the trigger with that rush as well. But Grimwood is still battling very valiantly, very hard here, and actually goes in for the rush first, but again, all the clapback is going to do is just push Replicant away with the shield up. It's going to be chip damage and nothing more than that. Now it's Replicant's turn, but Cobra, such a slippery, slidey customer, going to get away with all of that. Replicant cannot find a way through, so Replicant has the health lead as we enter 30 seconds to go, and look at how quickly Grimwood tries to zip on in there. Doesn't get the grab they were looking for though, and in fact it's Replicant who gets the better of that exchange. 15 seconds left on the clock, caught by the Roaster in midair, and Grimwood is staring down another point defeat here. 10 seconds on the clock, Replicant finally gets hit. Grimwood might still yet have a chance to yoink this away if they can find another hit. They find the hit with 3 seconds left on the clock. Replicant will be kicking themselves for that. They did not have to go for all of that pressure. They did not have to try and fling in those gloves. They had the health lead, and crucially, Grimwood now has all the confidence in the world. Rush right out of the gate. And immediately doubles on straight back, but again caught in the hot pocket. They will not want to stay there too long. The clapback is gone. The Birdchuck and the Popper, much better combination in this entire arena. But again, caught by the rush. Wasn't able to get the second juggle, but Replicant at least gives themselves a little bit of a chance to breathe here. Grimwood again wants to try and play this aggressive game, wants to slide in and catch Replicant off guard, but again another Roaster hit from mid-air is not going to give them the opportunity to do so. Another Popper does manage to go through, and again chain it into those 1-2 hits, which is absolutely crucial for them to do. Both are incredibly close to going down here. That rush will be able to KO from there. No, it won't. 310. They're looking for one hit of anything. Replicant somehow finds a way to be able to punch through the Popper and catch the Coolerang. This is an incredibly odd decision there for Grimwood. They went for the grab, and unfortunately Replicant just rushed straight through it. It's set point for Replicant after all of that. And Grimwood's going to go back to the clapback. I honestly thought the Birdchuck was working better for them than the clapback, but crucially the Coolerang gets around, gets not one, but 2 icicle chains. And that's not how Grimwood would have liked to have started this. They've already lost a quarter of their health. They finally get a Popper poke through. But again, Replicant with that shield finally does get caught up with the grab, sent towards the hot pocket area. Shield, chip damage, nothing more than that. Replicant tried to get the Coolerang to go through, but unfortunately ran straight into the clapback. So nothing they were going to be able to do from there. But crucially, it keeps this health at a very level situation. Grimwood just flinging everything at the wall to see if anything hits. Again, the clapback going to bounce off, and the roaster comes straight through, catching Grimwood off guard again. And it is Replicant who decides, you know what, I'm going to go for this rush. I've got the confidence, I've got the wherewithal. You have got so much health to take off me at this stage with 40 seconds to go. And Grimwood needs this rush on lockdown as quickly as physically possible. The clapback at least repels the roaster for a little while, but they have got to play this so patiently, so carefully. And Replicant, knowing full well that Coolerang would have hit, Grimwood had to use the rush to get themselves out of it and jump straight into the roaster. They jump straight into the roaster, and it means that Grimwood is out. And not just out, a 3-0 set to Replicant. Oh, dear me. And Grimwood is not going to make it into grand finals again. And so, Grimwood will end this competition in 3rd place, and it means your grand final match is going to be as follows. It's a rematch from not just the winners final, but from last time's grand final as well. It will be the challenger Replicant 3-time winner versus the number 1 seed, the 21-time winner of the Challenge Cup, and the reigning champion, the revolutionary Riffer himself. Remember that this is a double elimination tournament. So anything can happen. A bracket reset could still happen. But for it to do so, Replicant has to do something that they very rarely do. And that is take out Riffer when it matters the most in the grand final. Remember, best of 5 rules are still in effect. But what will happen between these two? We are going to find out right here, right now. And it looks like they've messed up my my player bar already, so we'll pop Riffer back there and Replicant onto the right hand side. So Ninjala versus Lollipop. Riffer on the left hand side of your screen, Replicant on the right. This is the grand final of the 69th edition of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. And away we go. And almost immediately, a very odd and tentative start for both sides of the field, but finally, it is Replicant who is going to start with the first damage against Riffer. The Tri-Blast and Ice Dragon combination immediately starts to go all in. Replicant, knowing full well that there's a lot of pressure coming their way, needs to keep Riffer grounded as much as they can. But again, that Tri-Blast is always such a devastating arm to go up against, and it's just every single time Replicant thinks they've got a moment to breathe, it's poked by the horizontal bolts. 365 damage just from the laser alone. And that is going to be Replicant already into critical, and that is going to be, I was going to say a whiffed rush, but not this time. 255 at least catches it on the second tail end. They cannot afford to take any further damage from Riffer at this stage. The bolt will hit, and it just about gives Replicant enough of a chance to get back in, but the bolt again is just too close. And Riffer again starts as they mean to go on, taking the initial point away from Replicant. Hydra Coolerang again coming back in for Rep, knowing full well that they can indeed do this, but there is a bolt. So devastating. They both get the trade, but crucially, it's Rep who gets the knockdown and the chill and the grab. Very good start again from Replicant, but they have to keep this up. As we saw in the previous point, Ripper just immediately turned that momentum right back into their side of the field. Again, caught by the Coolerang, and as long as that freeze keeps going on up, Ninjara loses that teleport ability. They can't do anything at that point. And again, another quick little knockdown on Weak on the left-hand side, but crucially, it's the Hydra that finds its mark and just drops Riffer straight to the ground. Another Ice Dragon chain, but again, that long-range grab, and the trampoline is up as well. And that's the last thing I need. Oh, do they? Replicant gets the juggle. 370 damage. Somehow, it does not get the KO. I honestly thought that would have KO'd at that range. But apparently the game says no, it will not. Replicant remains on 1 HP, and Replicant knows that this is the most winnable of winnable situations. All they've got to do is find a way to hit Riffer once, or just time this out. 25 seconds left on the clock. The pressure is unrelenting, and another 1-2 hit from Riffer, knowing full well that is KO range. If they find a rush here and now, it's not gonna happen. The Hydra finally finds a way through. Ninjara knew full well they could potentially have yoinked that back in their favor. It's not gonna happen this time round. So point number 3 in match 1 of our final today, and already the Hydra is beginning to start off much better this time round, and with the lack of space from that middle platform, Riffer is having a harder time here of keeping this range at their own advantage. Chip damage and nothing more than that for Riffer, as they wail on the shield. Finally are able to call out with a Tri-Blast hit, make that 2 hits in a row, make that 3 now, as Riffer finally starts to bring that momentum back onto their side of the field. Replicant does have rush, but again, falling foul to another of these bolt hits. They cannot afford to let them get away with that, and straight into Riffer's face. 375 damage. Down into critical goes Riffer. And that is going to be health lead for Replicant. Crucially, they need to keep this up. Riffer does have the rush set and ready to go, and we all know full well what Riffer is capable of at this situation, but there's not going to be anything for that chip damage again, and nothing more than that. That just helps Replicant get that rush that little bit faster as well. 30 seconds on the clock. Replicant knows again full well they've got the chance to be able to see this out. Frozen by the dragon, but again just keeps the shield up, knowing full well Riffer does not want to go for the chance of that grab, especially with Replicant having the rush. Riffer will not be too far away from that rush of their own, but they're not going to get a chance to charge anything more than that, as Replicant finally runs on through. And they've already done better than what they did earlier today in the winners final. They have a point against Riffer. A game finally dropped today for Riffer. Can Replicant keep this fine form up? Or is the change to Temple Grounds going to be too much in Riffer's favor? We're going to find out. No middle platform to worry about this time round. No trampoline. It's back to the 4 pillars and that slight little increase of those steps. As once again, Riffer again just keeps that Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon combination up. Replicant loses a bar in the early stages. They will not let that deter them though. Managing to match Riffer for 2 for 2 there, before finally Riffer gets out of that left hand side, gets back into that central. He is still being tagged by the Hydra though, so the arm is doing incredibly well against Riffer. It's absolutely covering all the bases they generally would dash on into, but finally the rush does come through. 360 damage. Replicant already finds themselves in critical condition in the early stages. Poked again by that Tri-Blast. Finally gets away from the second poke. But again, the consistency from Riffer. Replicant pretty much a hit away from going down. They've at least managed to get Riffer to the halfway mark. But all Riffer needs is a hit from anything, and that will do it. They do exchange blows, but crucially, it's a shot through the heart with the dragon. And that is nothing else that they can do about that. Riffer again taking that initial point. But let's see if they can actually finish the job this time round. We're going to see a switch from Replicant. Hydra is gone. In comes the Roaster on Temple Grounds. And again, Riffer slowly but surely starting to claim their territory on Temple Grounds. Dragon not going to find the piece that they were looking for, and unfortunately Riffa, with that double commit, could not jump from there. Thankfully they didn't get juggled in with the second half of that rush, and unfortunately that is Replicant caught in the rush of their own. So basically out of that exchange, Riffa again gets the better of the two, and the Ice Dragon again keeps Replicant frozen up, and on the cusp of critical they go. Again, the bolts and the dragons, that 1-2 combination which we've seen Riffa use time and time and time again to whittle their opponents down, is just keeping control of this situation. Another 1-2 hit that launches through into the finale, and that is one apiece in this set. Riffa 1, Replicant 1. Already it's going back and forth, but that match was incredibly one-sided there on the side of Riffa. Temple Grounds always just seems to be that good calling card for him, whether he's playing as Misango or as Ninjara. And Replicant has it all to do now to try and keep that momentum they took in Mausoleum. Riffa clearly not favouring that stage, flat out banning Mausoleum. I only just realised that we haven't seen a single counter pick stage at all today. It just has not arrived at any stage of the imagination. And it's going to be Sparring Ring that's going to be the choice from Replicant as we move into match number 3 of the grand final. We see that Hydra again for Lollipop. We've got that Phoenix and the Nade in the back pocket as well. It's going to be the Phoenix alongside the Hydra. The Tri-Blast versus... Sorry, the Tri-Blast with the windy versions of our lovely little slaps. And it is going to be both of them exchanging blows in the early stages. Again, Sparring Ring, that wonderful closed-in matchup. No gimmicks, it's just a straight-up boxing ring. You can get pinned into those corners if you're not careful, which is why Riffa not bringing the Dragon into this fight. They know full well the Dragon just does not excel in this kind of environment, which is why you see the slam coming on up instead. And so far, this combination working okay. No sooner have I said that though, Rep finally finds a way through with the grab, already down to halfway, but Riffa again still only really reeling from that initial grab. Again, the slam just finds its way to curve on around. The Phoenix is not able to intercept it. Riffa again, slowly but surely bringing that control back into the swing of things. Both for the first set and ready to go, but again, if you feel like Riffa will just bait it out and wait, and never mind, that is better timed than any to drop that 385 damage. One more poke, again they trade blows, but it doesn't matter. The damage was done, and Riffa is already starting to stake their claim on this grand final. Nade is going to come out alongside that Phoenix now for Replicant. The 1-2 hit finally starts to charge it back the other way and actually intercepting Ninjara in mid-air, which is crucial. You need to be doing that to stop Riffa from getting any kind of purchase, and so far this combination working much better for Replicant than the previous point. Riffa has a little bit more work cut out for them here, but they almost have Rush ready, both of them good and ready to go. Another explosion with the arm weak on the left-hand side. Replicant may sense an opportunity, but again, that 1-2 approach from Riffa able to start to whittle them down. But again, no shield up, not able to teleport out of that one. The Nade just flat out bonking Riffa right in the face. And Replicant knows full well that they could probably hold on to this Rush if possible. Maybe using it as a last second, actually using it now. Not going to get any purchase. They at least get 80 towards the tail end of that. It's damage at the very least, and the Nade does find its mark, and Riffa knowing full well they might have to change up their tactics going into the next point as Replicant finally finds a way back. Replicant wants a bracket reset. They want another chance at history, and they are going to have to go up against the Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon. So Riffa decides to bring the Ice Dragon back out for this and gets caught in time. And so no rush damage in the slightest for Riffa, as it's completely cancelled out and walled against the side, and Riffa knows full well that's not where they want to be. The Ice Dragon excels at range, and as long as Replicant stays this far away, Riffa has a chance to be able to tidy this on up. But again, the Dragon just going to get bopped on down. The laser can't activate, can't fire on out if the dragon is already knocked out of the sky. And Replicant now starting to close that gap down, not giving Riffa the chance to really breathe. And that is another big time damage, 390. Riffa pinned towards the corner, has rush set and ready to go, and they're going to have to do everything in their power to bring this back, as so far Replicant's counter pick has definitely worked out in their favor. Another punch with the nade means that one more hit for Replicant is all they need to be able to take this matchup away. 33 seconds on the clock, the bolt and the dragon comes in. 1-2 hit once again for Riffa. But again, it's Riffa who has to work the hard way, and that is not gonna happen any further than that. The nade hits square in the chest. Replicant is 2-1 up. Two on up for Replicant. Riffa staring down the barrel of a bracket reset. As we see our first counterpick stage of the day. Ninja College. Dry Blast, Ice Dragon, Hydra, Phoenix. So much fiery contempt between both of these players. I say that knowing full well Replicant has all of the fiery arms. Riffa has at least some explosions on their side, but again, it's that usual combination with the Ice Dragon as we go into Ninja College. Ninjara's home turf immediately starting with a decent showing, and again, they won't mind if they are fighting out on the back on the down low. They are okay with that. They did get an initial bit of hit with the rush, but unfortunately, the rest of it just kited Replicant away from it, and that was just going to be chip damage and nothing more than that. Tag for a bit of explosion and make that 2. So that's 2 self-destructs in a row there. Riffa will not want to have too many more disarms on that left-hand side of the field. The dragon at least comes up, and again, Replicant can't do anything with that rush. No purchase whatsoever. Riffa just casually glides on away and resumes with control in this matchup for the time being. Replicant can't quite get the hit on the Hydra they'd like to. Arm weak on the left-hand side as well, which is going to give Riffa all the more incentive as we come down into 30 seconds left to go. It is going to be rush coming out, but again, Replicant backs it all the way on up. Keeps that arm weak on the left-hand side, but again, it's only that, and it does finally fade away. But Replicant, crucially, with just 15 seconds to go, they're going to have to really find a way to hit every single bolt here, and well, they're doing it. They're doing exactly what they need to, and they know full well if they can keep this pressure up, they may still yet yoink this point away. It's a grab. Is that enough to take the lead? It is enough to take the lead. Replicant steals the point. It's reset point. Reset point for Replicant here. And the reigning champion is starting to feel this for sure. Replicant with the rush. Now Riffa has it as well as they start on the higher ground. And Replicant knows full well what's at stake. They have a chance to potentially maybe dethrone Riffa from this. They've still got another set to play if they at least manage to take the point. But it's going to be hits like that that'll help them. That rush unfortunately didn't connect the way they'd like to, but at least they got the follow-up hits on the afterthought as well. But unfortunately, that grab from Riffa gonna send them straight back down the stairs, back towards that corner. Replicant actually just walling straight on through, gets another self-destruct on that tri-blast. But again, Riffa not afraid to just fling that out, especially in these up close and quarter moments. Again, rushes on through the Hydra, not gonna give Replicant a chance. On the cusp of critical goes the Lola, and the tri-blast exploding in their face, sending them back down the stairs. And with 35 seconds left to go, Riffa has a monumental health lead. But again, we saw Replicant do this before, managing to chain in some hits, pinning Riffa into the corner and not giving our ninja friend a chance to really escape and come back on the offensive. Again, the Phoenix takes them out of the sky, which is again a good little showing. Great consistency from Replicant. But again, another tag with 13 seconds to go. They have the chance to still take this around right here and now, and Riffa arm weak on the left hand side is not going to help matters. Here comes the rush. Will it be enough damage? It is not enough damage, and Replicant, knowing full well that that was their chance, just unfortunately could not do anything more than that. I'm surprised they didn't keep on going there. I thought for sure they might have been able to at least get another hit, but not to be this time round. So one apiece between these two. And it's going to be the Hydra who gets not just the first, but the second hit as well. It is still, crucially, reset point for Replica, but that's the last thing they needed. 270 damage from that rush, pinned into the corner. They at least managed to tag in with another Hydra poke. Riffa again, they know full well the reset is there, staring them down on the horizon. Replicant is just itching to try and dethrone Le Champion. And they're currently doing it. This is how they do it, with these combination pokes. But again, Riffa, so consistent with that dragon. All they need is another hit. A hit from anything will mean that this goes to match 5. And so it shall be. Match 5 in the grand final. Riffa 2, Replicant 2. If Riffa wins, the tournament is over, and Riffa is still your reigning champion. If Replicant wins, we do it all over again. I was a little surprised at the end of point 2 there that Replicant didn't follow on up. They had Ninjara cornered. The rush did not go according to plan, yes, but they could have still got another couple hits or a grab in there. They had Ninjara pinned that corner and they just stopped for 2-3 seconds. They had another chance at least to do damage, but it just didn't happen. So we'll see if that comes back to bite them later on in as we head into match 5. It is Buster Beach, Ninjara for Riffa, Lollipop for Replicant. Pretty much the same combination of arms we used to seeing. Tri-Blast, Ice Dragon, Nade, Phoenix. And Riffa immediately starts with a starting grab, because of course he does. That is the kind of tactics you would expect to see from Riffa, who is now finally pinned into that hot pocket, walled out by the explosions, not once, but twice. And Replicant knows full well if they want to keep them there, they have to keep flinging on these explosive barrages, and they already have Riffa down to halfway. Finally, they managed to snake their way out, but Replicant has done the damage early on. The question now is, can they keep it here? Can they keep this rhythm going? Riffa already inching really close towards that critical condition. Replicant not even past the first bar of their health. And with both having a rush set and ready to go, you know full well that Riffa is going to have to do everything in their power to riddle that health right back on down, and actually gets the dragon laser. I think the laser managed to hit. Replicant thought for sure they had that rush, but Riffa somehow finds a way to cancel it. And we have seen matches turn on moments like that before. And it's going to be Riffa who pokes on in with the rush. And that pops Replicant into critical with 20 seconds left to go. How quickly a match can turn, but Replicant gets his own fair share of hits in as well. The nade explodes and actually dips Riffa into critical condition. 10 seconds to go. They are incredibly close on health here. Riffa is just a hit away from maybe losing yet another point. The nade is going to hit. The nade hits. Replicant hangs on. Reset point. This is the third reset point that Replicant has had in this set now. And still they cannot find a way through Riffa on that opening barrage. It is going to be Riffa who starts off with the first two, not just two, but 3 hits in a row. And the dragon again! The dragon again is going to cancel Replicant out. And the rush is going to hit. No, it's not. It's going to do chip damage and nothing more than that. But just a sigh of relief there at the very least. If that rush had fully connected, that would have been catastrophic for Replicant. And Riffa knows full well they cannot afford to be pinned in that hot pocket area. They quickly circle it back on around manages to tag in with another 1-2 chain, and Replicant is now feeling the pressure right back on the other foot. Just completely swept away by the Dragon, and Riffa has Rush charged up and ready to go. They will likely hold on to this for the upcoming point of that you would absolutely be assumed of, as Replicant finds themselves in critical condition. 30 seconds left on the clock. Riffa does not want Replicant to be doing any kind of favor with this, and again Replicant went for the rush. They went to try and get any kind of health advantage they could, but no avail. Riffa at least got the punish. Replicant does get a hit back of their own. Riffa is not going to use this rush at all. They will just take this time around if they can. They will have the rush advantage going in to what is going to be a very crucial final point in this grand final. Riffa with that stylistic charm we expect to see of him, just jumping over the last 2 hits of that game. It is reset point for Replicant. It is championship point for Riffa. And it's Riffa who starts with the first bit of damage on their side of the field. The Hydra immediately poked them, but they get a Dragon in of their own. Replicant pings the rush, but that's not going to give them anything. Riffa just sits there with the shield. Replicant knows full well nothing will come of it. And the rush advantage remains then with Riffa. When will they choose to call for it? The answer is at the wrong time. Again, chip damage and nothing more. So 2 whiffs in a row for the rushes in the start of this finale point. And again, Replicant using that bouncy nature of Lola to get themselves into position to maybe annoy this wonderful Riffa with. But so far, it is gonna be all up onto their side. 2 hits in a row knocks Riffa down. Finally get the Tri-Blast of their own. But Replicant, again, straight back on in with the volley with the Hydra. They have the health lead. They both have rush. Arm weak on the right-hand side for Replicant. Last thing that they need. And they know full well that, again, Riffa is the one who has to make all of the work here. 30 seconds on the clock. The difference between a reset and the finale. Another tag with the Dragon is going to come out. Who is going to get the most important hits here as another 1-2 combo brings their health lead back to a level playing field. 15 seconds on the clock. Another 1-2 combo. Replicant is in a lot of trouble. Finally managed to get a point of their own. It's going to be Riffa who goes for the rush. And that might be an overcommitment. It is over. It's a reset. It's a reset bracket. The unthinkable could happen. Emphasis on could. Grand final. Reset bracket. I honestly don't know what else to say to properly convey to you the levels of hype this now has. There could yet be a chance. The reign could end, but Replicant knows they have it all to do. They have to do another set against the reigning champion, who immediately comes in with a grab and immediately starting with the first boatload of damage. And it's Replicant already being grinded to a halt. Riffa is not playing around here in the slightest. Rush is already set and ready to go, and Replicant only just finally gets the first punch on their side of the field, and a self-destruct! It's another explosion that rips away a rush from Riffa, and Replicant immediately waddles on right on into Riffa. A Phoenix hit, but unfortunately finally gets caught with the grab. Riffa pits them straight into that central platform. Ref does have rush set and ready to go, but again, it's they who are in the bit more of a harder reach at this stage. It is going to be a rush coming straight on Alpha Replicant. We're going to bring this health deficit back to a level playing field. Riffa will have rushed relatively soon, with just under 30 seconds left on the clock. Replicant on the cusp of critical, cannot afford to be getting to do much more damage, but that I'm afraid. What? Riffa somehow doesn't punish. Riffa somehow doesn't get the actual punish that they were looking for. They managed to clip them, but somehow Replicant gets the shield up. I don't know if it'll change anything. It may still yet do so. 3 seconds on the clock. They want one more hit if they can fight. Oh my god! Do not scratch your eyes. This is genuinely unprecedented what is happening here. Rep with a last second punch gets a KO. That came out of nowhere, and as a result, they start with the initiative in this matchup. And boy howdy, Riffa is not going to take that kindly as the dragon lasers continue to rain on down. They are going to get choked out again by not one, but 2 fiery, vicious bolts from Replicant. Finally, the dragon finds its way through. And both on very much similar health terms here as another 1-2 chain finally takes it back under control from Riffa, but they cannot afford to allow Replicant any further purchase. And that is how you do it. Sliding on away, counter rushing in, blasts in hand. One apiece between these two. Oh boy. As we get started for once again, well, this is going to be a very crucial end to the first matchup of this reset part of the competition. And it's Replicant who manages to chop away at Riffa in the air again, catches them with the Phoenix again on the back foot. And if they can continue to land these kind of consistent hits, they'll still be able to yoink this away from the reigning champion, the 21-time winner himself. And so far, it looks like they are going to be the best ones to do it. The rush is going to come out though, and Riffa finally gets the dragon up. 360 damage brings Replicant very close to that critical part. They are underneath the halfway mark. Arm weak on the right-hand side as well will not help their cause in the slightest. And providing Riffa can continue with these bolts, they'll at least manage to peg it down, but it fades away. That pressure fades away for Riffa. And Replicant knows full well another couple of these volleys, if a successful rush comes up here and now, they can and will KO, but they can't. It's another punish, and the trampoline comes out as well with 30 seconds left on the clock. Riffa goes for the rush, but it's cancelled. They get cancelled as well with another explosion. Riffa has the health lead with 20 seconds to go. Replicant in critical, Riffa just above it. So let's see if Replicant can steal yet another point from these last second clutches, just like they did time and time and time again. Riffa hanging on in there, 3 seconds on the clock. As long as they avoid a grab, they'll be absolutely fine. And that point finally goes to the reigning champion. Oh. These two players are operating at the highest peak of their capabilities. The reigning champion Riffa, the 21-time winner Riffa, is having to go that extra mile, that little extra step to find a way through Replicant, who is not giving up, who is not backing down from this challenge. Having lost in the previous grand final, having lost in winners finals 3-0 earlier today, beating Riffa finally with a 3-2 victory to force this reset to even happen. We've seen it time and time again, where they give us hope, where any player who is able to take the fight to Riffa and take points away from Riffa gives us hope that maybe Riffa's reign will end, but Riffa continues to come back and shut it down time and time again. And they always consistently do it on a reset with a 3-0 victory. They've got the first game. Can Replicant stop them in their tracks? DNA Lab is the pick. Riffa comes back in with their tried and trusted. Replicant comes in with their tried and trusted. It's business as usual with our big stage of the game. The 6 tubes and Replicant with a long range grab is going to smash a couple of them in one fell swoop. And crucially, just fling Riffa to the other side of the arena. It's going to be Replicant who's taking the more damage between the two in the early stages. We know the Ice Dragon excels at range, and a stage like DNA Labs is perfectly suited for it. As the arm drops on the right hand side, it gives Riffa a free chance to get damage through, and that rush is going to come out as well. Replicant backs all the way past, going to get that tube also destroyed, but crucially it means that they do not take any damage from that rush, so nothing Riffa could do about that. But having said that, they have the health lead already down past that halfway mark. Replicant does have rush ready to go, but they'll want to do a little bit more damage before they do anything against Riffa, especially with these consistent Tri-Blast hits that Riffa is just pegging Replicant down with. Again, the Hydra is going to run clean through Riffa as they all waddle on down into the central area. Replicant comes for the rush, but again, Riffa has the wherewithal to break that down. But having said that, Replicant, with a quick snapback of their own, brings Riffa into critical and actually takes the health lead again with 10 seconds left on the clock, and Replicant knows full well they have the chance to be able to get away from this, and they do. They sidestep the entirety of the rush, and they catch Riffa on the back foot as well. What is happening in this set, in this finale, as Replicant once again shoves it to Riffa, who is desperately trying to claw this back away. A Phoenix hit onto Riffa sends them into the corner as the bolt takes them straight back down, and Replicant just biding their time, waiting for Riffa to make that first move. They know full well that as long as that shield is up, they'll immediately teleport out, so they've got to have every base covered. And again, they both exchange punches in the middle of the arena. It is going to be the rush that comes out. The Phoenix lands! The Phoenix crucially landed on Riffa, and the rest was juggled from there. 320 and the Hydra hit as well. And just like that, Replicant has a chance, but Riffa with rush set and ready to go could KO from this range. May not even need to utilize it if they don't need to. Again, arm weak slightly on the right hand side. The rush will come out, but it's not going to cause the damage. Or will it? It broke the arm, but didn't KO. Arm weak and down at last. And Riffa finally gets the point that they were looking for. The difference between a 2-0 lead and a 1-1 scoreline in the reset bracket. A very important point right here and now. The difference between this potentially going all the way again, or the difference of Riffa having a 2-0 lead in the reset final. We've seen it happen time and time again, where Riffa is taken to the reset but still finds a way to win it. And Replicant and Riffa both with their respective rushes set and ready to go. Tri-Blast Ice Dragon is not going to get the answer on this occasion, as Riffa just slides on around. Not going to get anything against that rush at all. And Replicant is going to have to reboot and try again, as Riffa maintains their full health lead. Replicant haven't taken damage in the early stages, but Riffa not going to hit their rush either. Chip damage and nothing more than that. But crucially for Riffa, it at least gives them that little bit of extra lead, and that 1-2 chain is going to keep up that momentum as well. Replicant determined to try and get anything out of this, finally finds a grab and 150 damage, but Riffa immediately retaliates with a Tri-Blast straight to the face, another double tip, and Riffa just does not want to concede this title. A long range grab sends Replicant into critical. Riffa pretty much has this comfortably in the bag here, providing some form of a miracle from Replicant. The dragon does not quite get the punch that Riffa was looking for. Rush is going to come out, and Replicant is going to score with it. 380 damage, but they've got 10 seconds to get two massive grabs here, and it's just not going to happen. KO for Riffa, and the reigning champion is 2-0 up. Beating Riffa in a set is hard enough as it is. To beat him in 2 sets back to back is a mountain. To now have to beat Riffa in a reverse sweep. If anyone can, Replicant can. But I don't think Riffa's in the mood to relinquish this cup. He wants to tie he wants to tie the record of 4 wins in a row. He wants to get a 22nd cup victory, which is already more than anyone else in this tournament. He does not want to finish in 2nd place. But Replicant, they've done so well. They've done so well to get this far. But just that matchup, it just went away from them towards the end. They knew full well they had to go for the rush to try and get some form of damage down. And unfortunately, taking that first hit just did not help them in the slightest. So, match 3. Riffa is 2-0 up. As we go to Ninja College. Riffa on the left hand side of your screen starts at the bottom of the stairs. Replicant starts with the high ground. Comes in with the Coolerang and the Hydra. Can they find a way of working this against Riffa, or is the Ninja going to win on home soil? Well, they are going to get caught by the Hydra at the very least in the opening stages, and Replicant is going to try and do everything in their power to keep Riffa not just down here, but pinned against the corner, and Riffa immediately just double backs on themselves, takes the central area, and is going to pop themselves into a much more favorable position now, especially now with the high ground advantage. The Tri-Bolt rinses on through Replicant, arm weak on the right-hand side as well, with both having a rush ready to go. They'll likely deploy it a little bit later on, or unless they find an opportunity to do so. Riffa immediately runs straight on in, trying to bait out a reaction from Replicant. Doesn't get the damage they were looking for, instead actually gets caught on the back foot themselves. And suddenly that high ground not looking too comfy for Riffa at the moment. They are the ones who are finally starting to find their way through with the Tri-Blast. And the Dragon is not going to get any purchase. And in fact, Replicant goes for the rush anyway and doesn't get it. Riffa's shield just allows them to teleport all the way around it. No damage done, but crucially it is still Replicant with the health lead. And Riffa is in critical condition with 20 seconds left on the clock. But I know a rush at this stage would definitely end it if Riffa can connect with it. They are only a couple of hits away from taking this point away from Replicant. And it's the last thing they need, but that grab is exactly what Replicant needed. Riffa down into critical condition. They know full well a grab or anything like that would certainly help, but I don't think it'll do enough damage. And it doesn't. Replicant knows they have to win this at this stage. They start at the bottom of the stairs this time round. Hydra Coolerang back in hand. Again, tagged by the dragon. They cannot allow Riffa to keep any more control than that. And Riffa decides, you know what? Here comes the rush. And the Bolt are going to keep Replicant centered and squared. 320 damage for Replicant. Takes them down past the halfway mark. And this is the Riffa we are used to seeing. Finally gets run through by the Hydra at the very least. But again, already so much damage in the early stages via Le Champion. And they are just doing everything in their ability to keep this in their control. Does get swept by the wind for 225, but immediately straight back on to that 1-2 combination hit from the Triblast and the Ice Dragon. 50 seconds left on the clock as they rush on in. Replicant gonna avoid it this time round. Chip damage, nothing more than that. Replicant finally drops onto the halfway mark. Replicant on the cusp of critical, knowing full well they cannot afford to take any kind of damage at this stage as the Hydra just whizzes on by, just misses out for now. Replicant has 30 seconds to charge up a rush and then land it if they wish to turn the tides of this entire engagement. They are nearly there. They've got 20 seconds on the clock. Riffa will not be that much further behind with their rush as well. They've got to pin them into this corner. Riffa knows a rush will definitely help their marks as they are on the cusp of critical now, and Replicant is trying to sense an opportunity. Riffa activates the rush, and Replicant, what are you doing? Why would you rush there? The dragon is not gonna stop for you. The dragon is always gonna pierce you. It's championship point for Riffa. And as the dance begins once more, Replicant starts on the high ground, Riffa starts on the lower segment, both trading in the early stages, but the Hydra finally gets the charged on poke and make that 2-for-2 with that Hydra. They're both charging rush pretty quickly, and it's going to be Replicant who has it first, but Riffa again slows that control down, gets the grab, brings it back under their entire swing of things. And again, the dragon just going to clip the shield on the way back down, but crucially the Hydra is covering so much area that Riffa's really having to play this incredibly cautiously. Rush is going to come through and actually juggle Riffa on up. 190 damage pops them towards the higher ground. Replicant knows full well a rush from Riffa will absolutely hurt at this stage, and they are keeping the Riffa at bay. Ice Dragon just going to bounce off the shield for the time being as the Coolerang curves around, not going to find its mark. So many explosions from both sides of the field. But it is Replicant who is hanging on in there. Hydra hit Riffa into critical condition. And Riffa slowly but surely senses an opportunity to maybe pin Replicant into the corner and maybe get the finishing touch that they want, but they're giving Replicant the space. They finally hit the bolt. They're both into critical with 10 seconds to go. The set will either end with a win, with a championship, or a continued set. It's going to be the rush from Replicant, and will that do it for Rep? It does do it for Rep. The set continues. The set goes on. Riffa 2, Replicant 1. Oh my god. Oh, what else do you say? What else can you say? Oh my gosh. It is unprecedented. Two of the best players in Europe. If there was any set of matches that show to you that this community, that this competitive scene is still alive and well, all you have to do is show matches like this. This is what you want out of any competitive game. As we go into match number 4, Riffa still has the advantage, but Replicant so desperately wants so many more accolades. And Riffa knows full well they're gonna have to bring this to a halt. Because if Replicant keeps this up, we may still yet see some wonderful turnarounds as the Roaster and Coolerang comes out on Temple ground to go up against Riffa's usual dominance of the Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon. But Replicant going up close and personal with our ninja friend finally gets pegged down by the Dragon. And it's Riffa who again has that rush already charged up and good to go. Another 1-2 hit. It's going to pop that health back towards that halfway mark. Riffa knowing full well that they need to keep this controlled. The 3 pillars will give them that extra shield. They'll go for the rush early, but Replicant is just going to have their shield up. The 2 pillars will at least block out some of that damage, but crucially, more damage via the 1-2 chains than the rush. And Riffa has the health lead. Another series of bolts will land. Replicant goes for the rush anyway. 330 damage does at least half Riffa's health. But Replicant needs to be able to chain in these hits, just like Riffa has been doing throughout this entire matchup, because it's Replicant who's already into critical. Riffa with another free hit with the bolts. The grab is not going to find its connection, and Riffa is in complete control at this stage. They're being pinned into the corner now, but again, they're not worried too much. Another roaster hit is going to find its way through, and actually, this is starting to get a little bit too dangerous here for Riffa, knowing full well that with 9 seconds to go, they can't afford to let this go on any longer. They do get the KO. And for the second time, it's championship point in the reset bracket. Will this be where it ends? Hydra and Coolerang comes on back with all of the pillars down, and they start with the rush. Didn't quite get the second juggle that they wanted, but crucially, it's a fair amount of damage as the Dragon finally spirals on in. But again, another wake-up read for Replicant. Springing on back in towards the corner. They won't mind being there temporarily, as again, another Hydra hit. It just runs straight through Ninjara. Nothing that Riffa could do about it. Rush is going to come out. Big time damage, 290. Gets Replicant to the halfway mark. Riffa already underneath it. And again, caught by the Coolerang on the back foot. It robs them of their abilities, and that's why they shimmied back as far as they could. So Replicant could not get any additional purchase on that. On the cusp of critical is Le Champion. Finally does get a poke in with the bolts, but again, the Hydra comes right back at them. Rush deployed. Goodness bloody me. It's another tied up matchup, but it's still championship point for Riffa, who has the rush advantage at this stage of the game. And that could be what tips this in their favor yet. The Ice Dragon again just pierces straight through Replicant's heart, who has got it all to do here as another bolt just runs clean on through. Arm weak on the right hand side, finally gets a breath. It's just a breath of fresh air for Replicant as they manage to get another pin down onto Riffa. The Dragon just about avoiding that one, but again, it's still tagging that arm. Breaks on the left-hand side, weakens it on the right. This pressure from Riffa is unrelenting as they're finally taking it down towards the halfway mark. The Hydra's not going to hit the shield. Will it break? It does not break, and the Coolerang hit on Riffa as well, who in end has to quickly shimmer on all the way back into the corner to make sure the Replicant cannot get any follow-up with that. They do have the health lead here, and it's going to be rushed, but the grab is going to cancel it! The grab is going to cancel it, and this might be too much for Replicant to come back from. Another 1-2 chain means Replicant is a hit away, and that is how it ends. Your winner of this tournament, and still the reigning champion of the EU Arms Challenge Cup, is of course Le Champion, Revolutionary Riffa.